to take the stand in the High Court in Pretoria. Makhosonke Zungu is the key state witness that Constable Sizwe Zungu said he was with in 2014 when they were called to the Basotho hostel in Vosloorus on the day Meyiwa was shot dead. 5 men are currently on trial for killing the former Bafana captain in October 2014. Responding to Defence Counsel Charles Mnisi, the witness denied being with Constable Zungu, saying he only met him in 2015.
When did you first meet Constable Zungu?
It was 2015, June.
When I first started to know Constable Zungu, it was in June 2015.
Did you ever meet him again?
In 2017.
I met him again in 2017.
Where and under what circumstances? What was happening in 2017?
Okay. In terms of
Okay. And then he contacted me when I was in Carlton Center.
Do you have knowledge as to where he could have received or found or got your cell numbers from?
No,
No, I don't know.
The former U.S. President Bill Clinton has urged Americans to stand up and speak out after the second killing of a citizen by federal immigration agents in Minneapolis. In a rare political intervention, Clinton said peaceful protesters were being arrested, beaten, tear-gassed and killed. President Donald Trump has signaled he might eventually withdraw the immigration officials, though he said they are doing a phenomenal job. Thousands have been protesting in Minneapolis. The BBC's Carl Nasman has the details.
When did you first meet Constable Zungu?
It was 2015.
Recapping the top story, former Free State Premier Ace Magashule says the postponements in the 255 million rand asbestos corruption case have drained the pockets of the accused. I'm Mondela for SFM News, headlines at 3:30.
In sports, the Sawa Senegal FA chief blasts Morocco and CAF after chaotic AFCON final. Hollywoodbet Super League Awards nominees announced, and Ackerman eyes consistency as Bulls seek derby redemption against the Lions. More details at 3:30.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide. The National Pulse with Ashraf Garda on SAFM. You're listening to the National Pulse, weekdays 3 to 6 p.m.
I'll tell you what, someone said to me, Ashraf, can you say this? Can you say on air, the Madlanga Commission is back and Manchester United are back? So let me say that. Man United are back. Will they stay there? We'll see. What is definitely back after that whole holiday period break is the Madlanga Commission. Started today and will go on for a few months. And of course, as a result of that, up to 4 o'clock, we will give extensive coverage to the Madlanga Commission. This is the National Pulse. My name is Ashraf Garda. I trust you had a good weekend. So welcome indeed to the show. Now, already, because of the Commission, we can't take live calls, not quite yet, later on, but you can send us WhatsApp comments right away, which we will bank. Text or voice notes, 0614 104 107. You can tweet right away as well. Just tag us on the SFM Radio, and you can also tag us on our SFM Radio Facebook page as well. So go ahead and do that. What for you has emerged, not just from the Madlanga Commission today, but other things. For example, do you know the Rand is now at its strongest level, I believe, since 2016? Seriously. Why? Whatever it is, enjoy it. Stronger Rand, right? Cheaper imports. Yeah. Okay, let's get to the Madlanga Commission. So, undercover crime intelligence operative titled Witness E is currently testifying at the Madlanga Commission regarding their interactions and evidence related to the investigation. Just to recap, the commission was established by President Ramaphosa following corruption and infiltration of the judiciary allegations, that is, by the KZN Police Commissioner, Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. So let's get right to the commission. You'll hear the voice of Witness E.
I did depose a statement and I gave it to the IO.
Thank you. Commissioner Baloyi has a question for you.
Thank you, Mr. Witness E, when the minister asks to be in touch with Mr. Ngengwa, does he know, or rather let me ask, is it your understanding that he knows and understands that at that time Mr. Ngengwa is a potential witness, is accused in the Magaqa matter?
He knew everything, because every time there's any update with regards to the case of Sindiso Magaqa, I used to update him before and after. Even after the conviction of Mr. Ngengwa, he knew everything about him. Even after Mr. Ngengwa, because during the time when Mr. Ngengwa was convicted, he made a Section 220 statement where he mentioned that he's willing to be a state witness in the ongoing matter of Magaqa. So Mr. Mkhunu knew everything, that Mr. Ngengwa is now a state witness.
And a related question, when the minister speaks to you, is engaging with you and asking for updates from you, does he know that you're a state witness, you're going to be a state witness, or you're a potential state witness? Did he know that?
He knows everything about me. He knows that I'm a witness.
Yes.
He knows that, and he knows that I'm in a witness protection program.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloyi. Witness E, I think that now takes us to your paragraph 34 at page 13. Your statement. Witness E, can you still hear me?
Yes, I'm better.
Okay, it's your page 13, and I'm referring you to paragraph 34. I think that's where you're supposed to pick it up from.
I want to emphasize that since the beginning of the Madlanga Commission, on the 17th of September 2025, Minister Mkhunu consistently phones me and the numbers of calls are skyrocketing. He is trying to coerce me to testify at the Madlanga Commission in a manner favorable to him. In the phone call, I ended up conceding that I will testify at the Madlanga Commission.
Please proceed.
On Thursday,
No,
23 October.
Witness E, my apologies.
Before you proceed, Witness E, you say he's trying to coerce me to testify in a manner favorable to him. What does he want you to come and, has he told you what he wants you to come and testify to? And why do you say that is favorable to him? Witness E, you're on mute. Unmute yourself. Witness E, can you hear me? Unmute yourself if you can hear me.
Witness E, if you can hear us, can you please unmute yourself? You appear as muted on the screen. It might be the link is lost again. It gets quickly re-established. May I request a 2-minute stand up? Thank you.
We'll come back when you indicate.
Okay, they're going to have a very short break at the Madlanga Commission. It means there's a chance for me to connect with you, right? And you can call in live if you're up for a quick call and just chat about any of the things that moves the national pulse. Fascinating chat about Iran, by the way, this morning on Kathy Shea. If you want to just pick up on that as well in terms of what South Africa is doing or not doing, feel free to add to that. But you may want to pick up on the strength of the rand. And later on, we will chat about the investment from the Chery cars. You know Chery, I mean, now you suddenly see those cars everywhere. Well, they've effectively taken over the Nissan plant in Rossland, which actually means jobs will be saved, and they're going to start producing or manufacturing cars in this country as opposed to importing them from, say China, and then give us cheap cars, which is great for all of us, but also cripples the manufacturing industry. So that's amongst the things. There's calls from you, which I'll get to right after this.
You can become a victim of a legal problem: wrongful arrest, assault, uncontested divorce, rental disputes, maintenance matters, or labor problems. It can happen to you. Clientele Legal provides tough professional lawyers for an affordable monthly premium. Our legal team is standing by to assist you 24 hours a day. Join today. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Wherever you are in the world, SAFM 104 to 107 is accessible. We're also streaming live on Facebook, X, and YouTube at SAFM Radio. We acknowledge and appreciate everyone tuning in and watching our streams. Stay with SAFM 104 to 107 as we bring you Commission Live, breaking stories, and thought-provoking lectures. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. Ashraf Garda on the National Pulse.
Right, I was about to say let's take some calls, but I think we're back to the commission. So let's rejoin the Madlanga commission proceedings. In fact, we're just waiting for the sounds to come through before I think it's all good to go now.
Disconnected and reconnected, and you could hear me. Can I just test witness E? Can you hear me still?
Yes, I'm back, Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Baloyi had a question for you. Thank you.
Witness E, my question was that you say in paragraph 34 that the minister in these calls since the commission started, he consistently phones you and his telephone calls to you are skyrocketing. And then this is the part. He's trying to coerce me to testify the Madlanga Commission in a manner favorable to him. And my question was, what has he said he wants you to come and testify to, and why do you say that is favorable to him?
Every time, first of all, if I can remind the commission, there was that time when the same Mr. Ngengwa was convicted to 25 years for killing of Sindiso Makaka. What happened is that the SAPS National Office issued a statement that was giving credits to the PKTT, saying the PKTT, they have worked hard, congratulations and all that. The minister phoned me after that, immediately after receiving the statement. He even forwarded that police statement to me. He said, read that statement. Then I read the statement. He then called me back. He said, have you read the statement? I said, yes, I've read the statement. He said, you see, they are saying it's PKTT that achieved this conviction, but they are not mentioning you. He knew that I was part of the people who achieved that, or who was participating in that conviction. But he wanted to say, I must come to the commission and tell the commission that it's not the PKTT that achieved that conviction, but it was myself who achieved that conviction. That is why I say it is. This is why I say in that paragraph that he was trying to recruit me to testify in a manner that is favorable to him. And when I talk about the calls that are skyrocketing, it's because every time when there's a commission and then there's a witness that is testifying, sometimes he will call me maybe during tea time and say, hey, Wendot, we are Bugada. And then if I say, yes, I'm watching, he said, okay, Bugada, So he used to do that almost every day when there's a witness that is testifying with the matters that relates to case, and he used to call me and make those comments. So that is why I talk about skyrocketing.
Thank you, Witness E.
Thank you.
And I suppose, Witness E, you can tie that up. You don't have to read it with paragraph 30 of your statement.
Yes, the minister started pressurizing me regarding the PKTT. He asked me if I knew of any victims of the PKTT or if I have any documents or reports that are damaging to the PKTT, and if I have them, I should send them to Kamogelo Mokgotsi. And I informed him that I do not know of any victims of the PKTT because I have never worked with them. He then said that I should look for the victims and or evidence of people who were victimized by the PKTT, and should I find any, I should forward that information to Kamogelo Mokgotsi. You can see even there in paragraph 31, whereby he was asking me to look for this man convicted criminal called Dlamini, who was arrested by the PKTT with the other matters that are unrelated to the murder of Magaga. For the fact that he was asking me to become that investigator now, to investigate and find the people and find that Dlamini, find Mr. Ngengwa's number, find advice from me, how can he get to prison and talk to this Mr. Ngengwa and all that. So that is why I mentioned the pressure.
Thank you, Commissioner Kumalo. Witness E, that would then, on my reading, take us to your paragraph 35 at page 13. Can you pick it up?
May you come again, Chair?
Page 13, paragraph 35. That's where we take it from.
Paragraph 35. On Thursday, 23 October, at approximately 11:49, I received a WhatsApp call from a cell phone number that is mentioned there. When I answered the call, the person on the other end of the line introduced himself as Minister Senzo Mkhunu. I can indeed state that from the voice, I immediately recognized that the voice is that of a Minister Mkhunu. On this call, he asked me if the Madlanga Commission hadn't called me yet. My response to him was that I hadn't received any call from them. Minister Mkhunu then told me that I will be called by the Madlanga Commission. He further stated that while giving evidence at the ad hoc committee in Parliament, he deliberately did not mention anything about me because in Parliament they are just playing politics, and that at the Madlanga Commission they deal with the law. Therefore, he will ensure that I am called to Madlanga Commission.
Please proceed.
After the call, I then checked the cell phone number that the minister used to call me. On that number, when I checked it, it was appearing in the Truecaller app that the number was registered under the name Linda Hlongwa. I do not know who Linda Hlongwa is.
Please proceed.
On Wednesday, 10 December 2025, at approximately 12:50, I received a WhatsApp call from the cell phone number of the minister. On my cell phone number, the call was from the Minister Mkhunu, who started demanding the statements that I deposed to the PKTT in respect of the Cindy Somagaga's case, including the statements that I deposed to the Madlanga Commission. He further indicated that he wanted me to depose to a new statement pertaining to the buying of stolen cars and unlicensed firearms by crime intelligence, which were used in the killing of Cindy Somagaga and other ANC councillors. The minister further asked me if the Madlanga Commission had contacted me yet, and I told him that I was contacted by the commission and I was interviewed by the commission investigators. He asked me if I knew their names, and I told him that I do not know their names. He then demanded a copy of a statement I made to the Madlanga Commission, and I informed him that I did not have the statement and that I was only interviewed by the commission investigators. Therefore, I did not know whether or not they have drafted the statement, I further told the minister that the Madlanga Commission investigators have informed me that I will be called to the Madlanga Commission next year, which is 2026. Minister Mkhunu indicated that he wanted his lawyers to interview and obtain a statement from me. Therefore, he asked for my location. I then informed him that I then informed the minister that it is not allowed for me to disclose any of my location since I'm in the witness protection program. The minister then suggested that I draft the statement, sign and send it to him. And my response was that I could make a plan, but the problem was that I do not have gadgets in my possession to write it. Still on the same call, the minister informed me that when he was at Madlanga Commission, he handed an envelope containing 8 names to the commission, and that my name was on that list. Furthermore, that the commission had rejected that envelope, and that of the 8 individuals on that list, 7 of them had already submitted statements to his lawyers, and that it is only my statement that is outstanding. He emphasized that the lawyers had given him a submission due date or a deadline of 12 December 2025. The minister further indicated that amongst the 7 individuals that submitted statements, some of them were close to the PKTT. On the same date.
Yes, continue.
On the same date, on Wednesday, 10th December 2025, at about 15:57, I saw on my phone that I had two missed calls from cell phone number of the minister, and 1 missed call of a number that I didn't know at the time. At about 15:58, I received a WhatsApp call from Minister Mkhunu's cell phone number, and the person on the other end indicated that he was Minister Mkhunu and he was going to call me with another number, and I should answer the call when it came through. At 15:58 on the same day, I received a WhatsApp call from the very same number that I didn't know whose number it was at the time. This number reflected on my WhatsApp as saved as Lindo Mtembu, and even on my Truecaller it was registered as Lindo Mtembu. When I answered the call, I realized that the person on the other end of the line was Minister Senzo Mkhunu, who asked me if I had started drafting the statement, and that if I had finished drafting the statement, I should send it to his lawyer, who I understood to be called Barnes. He said, I must send it to Barnes. I'm not sure about the correct spelling. I must send it to Barnes via WhatsApp to Barnes' cell phone number. Then he provided the cell phone number as it stated there, or the cell phone number of Mr. Linda Mtembu. I then checked the cell phone number, that one of Mr. Barnes, and then in my Truecaller app it showed that it was registered under Sandile July. If I can just add something in that paragraph, paragraph 40, is that I did ask the minister on this day, because there was a media statement that the minister doesn't have his phones were taken. So I thought he doesn't have a phone all along because he was very quiet. But on that day, on Wednesday, when he started calling me and then started changing numbers, I asked him why is he changing why is he calling me with different numbers? He said no, he doesn't want to talk in his phone because he believes that his phones are being monitored. That is why he keeps on asking other people to give him a phone so that he can call me.
Okay.
On paragraph 41, on this call, the minister directed me that the statement should state as follows: and I'm paraphrasing. He said paragraph 1 should read as follows. During 2017, crime intelligence bought unlicensed firearms and stolen cars through the Secret Service account, and these guns and cars were handed over to the hitman Jabulani Mdunge, also an informer, and Sibusiso Nengwa, who were eventually hired to kill the ANC Youth League member, Mr. Sindiso Makaka. He said paragraph 2 should read as follows. In 2018, after the establishment of the PKTT, which is led by General Kumalo, the PKTT engaged with me and a statement was obtained and all details were given about the involvement of crime intelligence into the killing of Sindiso Makaka. Paragraph 3 should read as follows. From 2018, after the establishment of the PKTT, General Kumalo was heading the PKTT.
All right, we're going to leave that, the Madlanga Commission, just for now. There's lots of other things we need to cover, including sport in a moment. But before that, we need to get completely connected with the world news from wherever, right? So here's it is with the news headlines with Ondala Mbana.
Thank you, Ashraf. On the news headlines, prepaid consumers are set to benefit after the Independent Communications Authority of South Africa amended the rules on mobile data bundle expiry. Former Free State Premier Ace Magashule says the postponements in the 255 million rand asbestos corruption case have drained the pockets of the accused, and Israel says it will reopen Gaza's key crossing point with Egypt only after an operation to retrieve the body of the last remaining Israeli hostage is complete. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good afternoon. Starting off in Gauteng, the N3 northbound in Bedfordview, slow moving on the link to the N12 east at Giluli's interchange, and traffic lights aren't working at the intersection of Boysons Road and Klip River Drive. In KZN, a stationary vehicle on the N3 southbound after Hilton Avenue and a stationary vehicle on the N2 northbound at the N3 ramp. In Cape Town, there's a stationary vehicle on the M5 southbound after Berkeley Road and on the N1 outbound, slow-moving traffic towards Okavango Road. With your traffic update, I'm Irma G.
This is SAFM Sports with Duming Khapele.
Shumi, I can tell you now, Keys is wearing a Manchester United top. I haven't yet seen Temba, and I'm expecting to wear an Arsenal top, but I thought I'll just check with you. What are you wearing?
I'm definitely wearing a Manchester United jersey. And I mean, the first thing that I wanted to say to you was, who would have thought? Like at one stage, I actually thought it was going to be a draw, but hey, Manchester United, I'm sure you were smiling all the way to bed yesterday.
Well, I can confirm Kemba is not wearing an Arsenal top, and I see a complete absence of red Gunners tops throughout the SABC today. I just wonder why. But look, your prediction was Arsenal will win. I did expect that Arsenal would, I mean, the norm would be Arsenal should win, but with hindsight, 7 days doesn't make a summer or a winter, as you know, but it is two of the most incredible results from a team in disarray that you would have in succession, beating effectively the top two teams. The league's more than likely going to be won by one of those teams. So, yeah, tremendous. Yeah, Tumi, you there?
Yes, a very good afternoon to you, Ashraf, and our listeners. Well, let's start things off with football, where Senegalese Football Federation President Abdoulaye Fall has criticized both Morocco and CAF. This is following Senegal's Africa Cup of Nations victory. Senegal beat host Morocco 1-0. This is after extra time in a controversial final where players briefly walked off the field after a late penalty, which was awarded to Morocco. Now, Fall accused CAF of favoring the hosts, raising concerns about poor accommodation, inadequate security, and the late announcement of the match officials. He also claimed that Morocco tried to force Senegal to train at the Mohammed Center, which he said could have disrupted his team's preparations. Fall said that he threatened to pull Senegal out of the final unless security and facilities were improved, and that the match itself was filled with controversy, including a Senegal goal being. Meanwhile, Kaizer Chiefs co-coach Khalil Ben Yusuf says that results matter more than style, especially on difficult pitches. This comes after Chiefs recorded their first win in the CAF Confederations Cup group stage, beating Zesco United 1-0 in Dollar yesterday. It was also Chiefs' first ever victory against a Zambian team in CAF Interclub competition, and Pule Modi scored that only goal of the match inside the opening 2 minutes.
Yesterday, game -2, I think we make our training session in the pitch, and we discovered that the pitch is so difficult to play football in. So for that we have to manage how we play different football. You know that we are a technical team, but with this kind of pitch is dangerous to play football, because each ball you have to make 3 or 4 control, then you can play before. Also, we was more focused in the FIFA break about the strategic ball, and I think that's the second game we score with the strategic ball. Even this game, we watched a lot of defensive free kick and corner for Zesco, and we was following this instruction to make and to score with the strategic ball. We are so happy about the result. I know that the performance wasn't so good because we played different football than our football.
Elsewhere, Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta says that his team's mental strength will definitely be key to respond after losing to Manchester United in the Premier League. The defeat means that Arsenal have now gone 3 league matches without a win, a run that does not match the standards of a title-chasing side. But despite the loss, the Gunners still lead the table by 4 points, but Arteta admitted that home defeat was disappointing. He says that the focus is now on how the team reacts and lifts its performances in the matches ahead. In the meantime, the nominees for the 2025 Hollywood Bet Super League Awards have been announced ahead of Sunday's ceremony at the Vodacom Dome in Midrand. Mamelodi Sundowns ladies enjoyed another dominant season, lifting their 5th league title. JVW finished 2nd, level on points with TS Galaxy Queens, who were placed 3rd on goal difference. TS Galaxy's Leandre Smeda leads the nomination after scoring 22 goals and earning a Player of the Season nod. Other top awards include Coach of the Season, Goalkeeper, Young Player, and Match Official of the Year, with nominees drawn from the clubs across the league, and the winners will be revealed on Sunday. In terms of rugby, Bulls coach Johan Ackerman is calling for consistency as his side prepares for the second leg of the Yesgate derby against the Lions at Ellis Park. Ackerman's men recently snapped a 7-game losing streak with gritty wins in Pau and Edinburgh, but the home defeat to the Lions at Loftus still stings, especially given his history with the Johannesburg side and their coach Ivan Royan. Now, the Loftus loss dented belief and momentum in the United Rugby Championship, allowing the Lions to surge ahead on the log. Now, with the season pausing for the Six Nations, Saturday's derby is definitely a pivotal clash for the Pretoria outfit. In terms of tennis, Iga Swiatek is through to the Australian Open quarterfinals. The world number 1 beat Australian qualifier Madison Inglis 6-love, 6-3, ending the local interest in the women's singles. Swiatek hit 22 winners and continues her chase for a first Australian Open title. Meanwhile, defending champion Madison Keys has been knocked out of the Australian Open by fellow American Jessica Pegula 6-3 and 6-4. That's it from my side for now. I'll have more in the next hour.
And how about you sending us a picture of you in your Man United top? I mean, just tweet us. The whole country wants to know about it. Some are talking about Chiefs. That's another question. But for now, to me, with a Manchester United top, after she got her prediction wrong, but got the team that she wanted to win, really, she got that right in a strange way. So tweet us, the National Pulse will share that too.
Ashraf Garda on SAFM.
Right, there's another challenge on the go right now. It's called the Madlanga Commission, and as you know, it's restarted after the break over the holiday period. So we go full swing from today onwards. They often normally stop around 4 o'clock every day. Then we continue with other interviews. You can post your comments right now, and we'll bank it via WhatsApp to 0614 104 107. 0614 104 107. Let's get right back then to listen to the voice of Witness E testifying at the Madlanga Commission.
That should I finish writing the statement? Should I finish writing the statement, I will be very free for the rest of my life. But he said it in Zulu. He said, one daughter, moke wanginika le statement uzoba happy impilo yakho yonke uzojabulika kakhulu impilo yakho yonke. That's how he said it. My response to the minister was that I have not yet finished this, with the statement. He then indicated that I should then draft the statement the following day, and that when I'm finished with the statement, I should discuss the statement with him so that he will tell me what to add or to remove before I can print, sign, and send. He further informed me that Lindom Tembo, with the cell phone number that he was using before, resides with him. They live together in one house. Therefore, I can call at any time, even at 12 midnight, if I want some comments in that statement. I can reach him through Lindom Tembo. Further to that, the minister indicated that the statement should be finalized before 12 midday on Thursday, 11 December 2025.
Witness E, if you did understand him at all, what did you understand the minister to refer to or to mean when he said, if you finish writing the statement, you would be free for the rest of your life? What did you understand that to mean? What was he undertaking to you, if at all, if anything?
Chair, at the time, I didn't understand what he was meaning, but now, based on the information that I have and that I know, I think I have an idea what he was trying to mean, but may I reserve my answer to that question, but I did not understand at the time, because he said, you will be free and you will be happy for the rest of your life if you can just give me the statement. So that was it. So at the time, I didn't understand, but whatever I know now is not important. Or maybe can I just reserve it to myself?
Earlier on, you mentioned that he had offered the services of his lawyers to you.
Yes.
Did that happen? Did you accept, and did anything come of it, of that offer?
I refused to take an offer because I'm in the program. I refused to take an offer. But if I was not in the program, I was going to accept the offer. And I was going to start engaging the process of entrapments because I'm very good in entrapments. I was going to ask the lawyers to come, and then when they come, I will hear what they are up to. And then if there's any criminality, they were not going to leave that office.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloyi. I think we are now at your paragraph 43 at page 18, witness E. Are you there?
On Thursday, the 11th of December, now it's the following day, at about 8 a.m., 10 past 8 a.m., I received a WhatsApp call from cell phone number of Lindom Tembo, who resides with the minister. In that call, Minister Mkhunu asked if I was finished writing the statement. And when I said I was still busy writing the statement, he then said that he wanted to supply the statement to his lawyers before 12 midday. At about 13:15, I missed 3 WhatsApp calls from the cell phone number of Lindom Tembo. I attached the screen grab of the call log. It is attached as WE5. I wish to state that I deliberately missed those calls because I had not drafted any statement for the minister, and I had no intention to draft of any statement because I had no intention to draft any statement. But now I didn't know what to say to the minister at the time when he was calling me, because now there was no statement, the statement that I drafted, and he was busy calling, asking for a statement. So because it was after the deadline, I did not know what to tell the minister.
Yes, your annexure WE5 is in the annexure bundle at page 10. If you could turn to that annexure. And you say that's the call log.
Yes, Chair, that's true. That's a call log.
and if I read it correctly, the earliest call is at the bottom of the sheet and the latest call is at the top of the sheet. Am I reading it correctly?
That's correct. That's correct, Chair.
And I see that whereas when we set out a date here in South Africa, we start with the day and the month and the year. This appears to be different because the first figure, the first figure in all those calls is 12, then it goes /10/25. And what changes is the middle number. So am I reading it correctly that 12 here refers to the month and not the date?
Yes, because WhatsApp is not is not program or it's not a South African app. So they start with a year. They start with a month. They start with a month, followed by a day, followed by a year. So here it's December. It's the December month, the 10th, 2025. So it starts from there going up.
So the American system. Now,
yes, Chair.
I see the first, then if we accept that the first call is the one at the bottom, right? 12, 10, 25, and 15, 57, and works all the way to 12, 11, 20, 25, and 13, 15, right? So this is over a period of 2 days. Am I correct?
Yes, Chair.
So that first,
that's correct, Chair.
That first call at the bottom, is that the call you reference at paragraph 40 of your statement at page 15? Am I reading it correctly?
That's correct, Chair. That's correct, Chair.
And then from paragraph 40, all the other calls that you said you received from the various numbers will then be reflected in the rest of the document reading upwards.
That's correct, Chair.
With the last being the call you reference at paragraph 43. From that number you said is registered to Lindom Tembu, I think you said. Lindom Tembu. In paragraph 43, you said at 13:15, you had those 3 missed WhatsApp calls from that number. And I see the top entry on your annexure WE5 is that number. You cited paragraph 3, and it's in red, reflecting that it's 3 missed calls. Am I reading the annexure correctly?
That's correct, Chair.
Thank you, Witness E. You may then proceed to your paragraph 44.
The minister called me with a direct, because I was not answering now that WhatsApp call because I didn't know what to say to the minister. But then he started calling me with a direct call. The minister called me with a direct call, and I claimed that I have drafted the statement along the lines discussed. Because that was a direct call, my phone utilizes Truecaller app, and the Truecaller app is set on my phone as a default. So therefore, the call was automatically recorded. The recording of the conversation is attached as annexure WE6.
Thank you, Witness E. Before you proceed, that your WE6 is a voice recording. It's referred to in the statement, but it's not transcribed. Commissioners, what we have provided by Witness E is the actual recording. So we propose that perhaps we play the recording and then Witness E speaks to it, and then subsequently we'll attend to transcription of that recording. Thank you, Chair. Witness E, we are going to play a recording you provided, and we have marked annexure WE6. Please listen to it, and then you'll take some questions. Thank you.
Ngibhale ngibhale izinto eziwu 1 2 3 4 ngibhale izinto eziwu 5 mengizokuthatha ekuqaleni ngibhale from igama isibongo address lezinto eziphezulu paragraph 1 ngabhala ukuthi
Hello.
Yes.
Mala. Ubhalile uqedile manje noma kwaqeda?
Angakaqedi, angithi bengifuna ukusilungisa, sengibhalile kodwa ngicabanga ukuthi ngiqedile, kodwa manje kufanele ngistype. Ngoba manje bengifuna ukuthi kodwa uqale uzwe ukuthi ngibhale kanjani.
WhatsApp la kule ndoda la. Lo suqedile singalo sikhuluma.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Witness E, are you able to identify for the record whose voices we hear on Annexure WE6?
Chair, that was Minister Senzo Mkhunu.
And talking to...
And he was talking to me because he wanted that statement so badly. So since he wasn't getting hold of me on WhatsApp, he decided to use a normal call. And if I can explain to the commissioners, I did not deliberately record the minister. I was not in the process of entrapments. WhatsApp. The Minister Mkhunu told me in December 2024 that he doesn't want us to talk on a normal call because his phones might be monitored. He wants us to use a WhatsApp call because a WhatsApp call cannot be recorded. There's no option to record. So because he was desperate for this statement, he was then forced to call me on a normal call. But you could hear from how he speaks that he was not comfortable in talking more in a normal call. The reason why I'm explaining this is that I did not record all the other conversations that we had with the minister because we use WhatsApp calls, and if ever, according to my old Smolanyana knowledge, if ever I have to record someone and I use another device, I will be embarking in entrapments. And if I have to embark on entrapments, I have to follow certain laws. And then if I am an initiator of the call, I have to inform the other person that the call might be recorded because I am an initiator of the call. But if I'm a receiver of the call, I don't have to inform the other person what systems I have in my possession. So when the minister, this call was not initiated by myself, it was initiated by the minister. Unfortunately, the Truecaller app is set on default on my phone. So therefore, it automatically recorded the minister.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for that explanation, Witness E. Now, could you perhaps do us a favor? The conversation sounds like it's in Zulu, it's in the vernacular. We've conducted these hearings, at least your testimony in English. Are you able to briefly summarize what you said in English and what the minister said for the record? Thank you.
Chair, with my poor English.
Witness E, just wait a second.
Yes, perhaps before that, who is the first person speaking on the recording or in the recording? Is it? Just perhaps please replay.
We'll replay it, Chair. Yes. Witness E, please, we are going to replay the clip. Please listen to it and then take some questions from the commissioners. Thank you. We'll try and slow it down a bit as well.
No, bengilisi ngiyalokhuza la ngiyabhala
Please pause. Who is that witness E?
That is witness E, Chair. That's myself.
And what are you saying there? Perhaps continue to
I
the
am saying-
end. No. Continue to the end of what witness E is saying, and then witness E should please tell us what he's saying.
We shall do so. We're going to try, and we will run the part that witness CE says he's the speaker.
No, bengithi ngiyalokhuza la ngiyabhala. Ngisefrethini la angike lokhuze nendlini. Ngibhale izinto eziwu 1, 2, 3, 4.
Perhaps before the mention of Ngibale isn't before that, please translate what you said up to this point, witness E.
After I saw the minister calling me on a normal call, I just took the call. I did not say hello because we've been engaging the whole day discussing the statement. So I just took the call and I pretended to be writing a statement. In fact, I was lying to the minister saying I'm
No,
writing a statement.
No, just tell us, sorry, witness E, please tell us what you are saying. Don't give us any background, just tell us what you are saying.
I said I was trying to write. I was trying to write a statement.
That's very short.
I was just suggesting we are going to replay that part and try and stop before he gets to the second part. Okay.
Thank you.
We'll replay the first part. Please listen carefully, witness E, and translate for us. Thank you.
No, bengithi ngiyalokhuza la ngiyabhala. Ngisefrethini la angike lokhuze nendlini.
Okay, please translate that portion.
I was trying to write a statement, but I'm not in the house. I'm at the flat.
Okay, we go to the next part.
Ngibhale izinto eziwu 1, 2, 3, 4. Izinto eziwu 5.
Okay, can you translate that bit for us?
I wrote five things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Thank you.
Thatha ekuqaleni ngibhale from igama isibongo address lezinto eziphezulu. Paragraph 1 ngabhala
Mana.
Okay, before the other voice comes in, can you translate the last bit?
I started writing my name, surname, and I started writing the preamble of the statement.
Okay. Then I think now we get to the part where the other voice comes in.
Malava. Hello.
Yes.
Mana. Upalelu katile manje noma kwaqeda.
Angakaqedi angithi bengifuna
Now can you translate what is said by the other voice?
The other person is the minister.
Witness you wait.
Please identify the other voice and then translate.
Thank you, Chair.
The other person who's responding is Minister Mtunu. He says, mana. It means wait. Have you finished writing? He says, mana. Usubhalile uqedile. Wait. Have you finished writing?
Okay, we're going to play the next portion.
ngithi bengifuna ukusilungisa sengibhalile kodwa ngicabanga ukuthi ngiqedile kodwa manje kufanele ngistype ngoba manje bengifuna ukuthi kodwa aqale uzwe ukuthi ngibhale kanjani.
Witness, can you identify firstly who's talking and then you translate for us? Thank you.
The second person who responded is myself. I said, I think I finished writing or drafting the statement, but I think I'm not yet done. I just wanted to confirm it with you so that you can see, so that you know what has been written or what I've written in the statement.
Okay, thank you. We proceed.
All right, we are just going to leave the Madlanga Commission for now because it's 4 o'clock and it's time for the news.
Thank you, Ashraf. On the news headlines, rules on mobile data bundle expiry amended, and Magashule reacts to the court postponement in the asbestos case. For SFM News, I'm Mondelamban, and a very good afternoon. Prepaid consumers are set to benefit after the Independent Communications Authority of South Africa amended the rules on mobile data bundle expiry from the 23rd of January next year. South Africa's telecommunications companies will be required to allow consumers to roll over unused mobile data bundles. ICASA gazetted the new regulations on Friday that provide for at least one rollover on the same terms as the original bundle. ICASA councillor Dikeledi Catherine Mushi has cautioned that bundles for 7 days or less, including uncapped as well as free and promotional bundles, will be excluded.
And for that, we are trying to balance, the market so that the market stays alive while consumers also enjoy the benefits. Especially on the 7 days, we were just cautious that, these are bundles that are, your 5 rand bundles where somebody quickly wants to buy a bundle for the day to do an urgent call. We did not want to discourage investments and networks to now all of a sudden get rid of these bundles.
The Madlanga Commission has heard how Police Minister Senzo Mchunu's Chief of Staff, Cedric Ngabinde, was tasked by the Minister to investigate the assassination of ANC Youth League Secretary General Cindy Magagwa. This is according to Witness E, who is testifying in partial camera at the Bridget Mabandla Justice College in Pretoria. Magagwa was gunned down in Umzimkhulu, KwaZulu-Natal in September 2017. Witness E has testified that Ngabinde called him in December 2024, informing him that Minister Mchunu gave him permission to investigate crime intelligence officials involved in Magagwa's murder.
Mr. Ngabinde further informed me that he was once in the employ of the IPID, which is Independent Police Investigative Directorate, and he once heard that former Minister Pegitele and the Lieutenant General Kumalo were also involved in the assassination of Cindy Magagwa. I informed him that the two were not involved.
Former Free State Premier Ace Magashule says the postponements in the 255 million rand asbestos corruption case have drained the pockets of the accused. Magashule says former Human Settlements MEC Oli Mlamleli has approached legal aid for assistance but did not pass the means test. This is also as the lawyer of former HOD of Human Settlements Ntmotse Mukhetsi withdrew from the case. Magashule was speaking following the appearance in the Free State High Court in Bloemfontein, says the postponement is another blow.
Those guys who committed a lot of atrocities during apartheid times, they have representatives. Those who killed our brothers and sisters, they are actually funded by the state. HOD Mukhesi was the HOD. The state can't do that. Olim Lamleli went to legal aid. She did not pass the means test. What will make Tim Mukhesi to pass the means test? You see another delay.
A large contingent of police has been deployed on the R49 between Zerast and Gaborone, Botswana, following protests in Mogala village Traffic flow has been restored after protesting residents blockaded the R49 road, demanding consistent and reliable water supply. They say they have been struggling with water outages since August last year. This is what some of the protesters had to say.
Whenever we close the road, water is coming. When we don't close the road, the water is not coming. So it's better to close the road and then it give us water. And this time we don't need part-time water, we need full-time water, good people.
In Mukula,
we don't have water, and our children go to school without bathing. We too haven't even bathed. There's no water, and we are pleading with water authorities to restore the water supply.
Israel says it will reopen Gaza's key crossing points with Egypt only after an operation to retrieve the body of the last remaining Israeli hostage is complete. Israel's military has begun a new search for the remains of policeman Ron Gavili. The BBC's Yolandi Nell reports.
When it comes to the search for Ron Gavili's body, we understand that there is information that has been provided to the Israeli military and that it is now carrying out this search in a cemetery which is to the east of Gaza City. They are exhuming bodies in that area, which is very close to the so-called yellow line, which demarcates the part of Gaza which is under Israeli military control.
Recapping the top story, prepaid consumers are set to benefit after the Independent Communications Authority of South Africa amended the rules on mobile data bundle expiry. I'm Ondilambana of SFM News headlines at 4:30.
In sports this hour, South Africa names record 5-athlete squad for Milano Cortina Winter Olympics and FIFA World Cup Trophy Tour hits South Africa. More details at 4:30.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
In central Johannesburg. Good afternoon. Starting off in Gauteng, the M1 southbound in central Johannesburg, slow moving towards Crown Interchange and traffic lights not working at the intersection of Boom Street and Kosi Mapuru Street in Pretoria. In KZN, the N2 southbound in Amanzimtoti has roadworks reported with traffic restrictions on Twinney Hill and a stationary vehicle on the N3 northbound after Peter Brown Drive interchange. In Cape Town, Rhodes Drive in Bishop's Court is where a crash is reported near Hohenhout Road, and Kloofnik Road inbound is where a crash is reported before Bellevue Road. With your traffic update, I'm Irma G.
Stay safe on the roads. SAFM is with you. The National Pulse with Ashraf Garda on SAFM. You're listening to the National Pulse, weekdays 3 to 6 p.m.
The National Pulse, it certainly is the dominant story of the day. Predictably has been the Madlanga Commission, but that's not all. There are many other things we need to be talking about. And I'll open the lines to you, that you can raise whatever it is you want to get off your chest, whatever you think moves the National Pulse, or even, need I say it, the global pulse as well, right? So, just a reminder for you. I wonder where you're listening from. I mean, you can maybe just tell me where you're listening from so I know. And if you want to send a picture, WhatsApp it. I'd love to check it out. 0614 104 107. And then to call in live later on, 086 000 2032. So, away from the issue of the Madlanga Commission, like, did you know that it's 1 year since that tragedy in Stilfontein when 93 people died? Remember that whole mining story where these miners were underground and, you know, the allegation was they were starved to death. It's a year now. Christopher Rutledge is with us, Executive Director of the Mining Affected Communities United in Action. Christopher, I appreciate you joining us on the National Pulse.
Good afternoon, Ashraf. Thank you very much for having us and for bringing this matter to the public's attention.
Thank you. Well, maybe let me just start with this firstly, just so that we get context. Very briefly, just recap what happened a year ago.
Ashraf, so around about August of 2024, the state had intensified operations in Stilfontein and started closing off exits. The community there then started to engage with the police to say, look, these people are trapped down there. They have no way to come out. Can we facilitate their exit? After many engagements, it was originally eventually agreed that a message was sent down and some miners were asked to exit via Margaret Shaft. And then, as you know, in November, there was about 1,000 miners that came through that exit, and it came to the public's attention that this was actually happening. So that's between August and November. By then, people were hungry already. There was a group of miners that were trapped in Shaft 11 that had no way to exit. They were actually blocked by flooded passageways and very difficult terrain and, hundreds of kilometers of tunnels underground. So they were blocked and couldn't come out. It's at that point that we got involved, went to courts, as you know, multiple times, and eventually we then got permission from the court to deliver some food, which we did. And as we started to deliver food through this pulley system, we started to also retrieve dead bodies. And by that time, the evidence was very clear that people were dying. Messages were coming up to say we are dying. But the state continued to, say, we will smoke them out. There's no ways we're going to not smoke them out, and we will not provide food. So there was a battle around that. We continued to go to court, and eventually we were on our way to the Constitutional Court when we got a video from below. That was around about the 9th of January of 2025. We got a video which was just showed, hundreds, not hundreds of bodies, but tens of bodies lined up, wrapped up, people who had died. We saw people in desperate states of their last, thin, emaciated, calling for assistance. And then, the courts, then the police and the state then at that point agreed to start an operation, which they did, and which was completed then on the 16th of January. And when all was said and done, we had at least 93 bodies that were confirmed dead, and many, many more that remained underground, which could not be retrieved.
Okay, and just to be clear, in that statement, we will smoke them out, was made by Kumbudzo Ntshavheni, the minister in the presidency, right?
Yes.
Now, one year later, you have questions, and if I understand correctly, there's lots of questions that are unanswered in terms of what has happened since. So go ahead and tell us.
Yes. So certainly, as the matter has unfolded, there's been hearings at the South African Human Rights Commission. After we had to beg and plead the Human Rights Commission to keep the hearings off the ground, eventually the police did present evidence at the commission, and in that evidence, it became clear that they knew that people were trapped underground. They knew that there were young children underground trapped as part of potentially human trafficking operations. And the police insisted on not doing anything. So these are all on record. Affidavits have been signed and sworn to. The information is very clear that the police knew that there were people trapped underground. They had no way to come out, but they continued to do that. We've asked Parliament on a number of occasions to investigate the matter. They have refused. We know that in the Madlanga Commission, evidence has emerged which links the Minister of Police to criminal syndicates and having meetings with them in his official residence to discuss what was happening at Stilfontein and plan and operate it. We know that the Minerals Council, which is a private body representing mining companies, was also located on the National Joint Structure of Security, the NAT joints, which again is not permissible by law. Private bodies are not allowed on there unless they are done so in an open and transparent manner where there is clear memorandums of understanding, and that there is a clear mandate in terms of what they're doing there. So none of that was there. So private bodies were directing the massacre under and using the state as its.
And you believe, in terms of where you come from, if I understand you, that whatever happened there around that shaft at the Stilfontein mine, shaft 11, is grounds for what, criminal charges, and it hasn't happened, but you believe that's what should have happened or ought to happen, yeah?
Yes, no, absolutely. There is clear evidence that what happened here was a violation of international human rights law, in a violation of our South African constitutional law, violation of our own laws, and yet the state has not acted. So I'm currently in New York, meeting with lawyers and other parties to look at how we now can take this matter to the international courts and the UN bodies, because our state has simply just tried to sweep this under the ground. But we cannot allow that to happen. So, unlike, so unfortunately, even though we know the story with AfriForum and them going to the US, unfortunately, we are left with no choice because the police are not investigating. Madlanga Commission is not investigating. Parliament is not investigating. The Human Rights Commission is not serious about getting this matter to justice. So there are no institutions in South Africa that are investigating and dealing with the matter. So our only recourse now is to look at international avenues to obtain justice.
So, if I understand it, there's not been criminal charges because there's been investigations, and it's come about first as the first point has been from the South African Human Rights Commission. Isn't that an ongoing investigation?
Yes, it is an investigation, but we have noted that the Human Rights Commission has got no powers. We have been asking since last year that the Minister of Mineral Resources and the Minister of Police be called before the Commission to answer for what they've done there, and they've simply just ignored the commission till this day. The commission is still trying to get the ministers to sit before the commission, and they haven't. So
which means they're trying to investigate, but there's been a lock jam elsewhere. In terms of the Madlanga Commission, for example, and it does link up because it relates to policing. Can you then say emphatically that in fact that they're still continuing with their investigations in general? Like, have they dismissed what you've said to say we will not cover it no matter what?
No.
Which means they may still do it.
Our request.
Yeah.
They've acknowledged our request, but they haven't given us any feedback in terms of where they are with the investigation. They haven't indicated whether they intend questioning the minister on it. We do believe that they will, because there was some indication that they will in the hearings. They mentioned it very briefly, but we have no official commission to say that there will be. But in any event, we cannot allow this burying, this evasion of justice to continue. So we're going to try and get United Nations and other international bodies to also start investigating the matter.
Because that's the part that's confusing to me. I'm just trying to understand it. If they've said they've acknowledged it, and you also say you believe they will look into it, which means they have not rejected it. They haven't come back and said, sorry, you know what? To put it flippantly, if one said, can you investigate why, I don't know, Bafana lost in the African Cup of Nations, and the Madlanga Commission comes back and said, sorry, out of our domain, we can't handle that, then we know that's very clear. If that hasn't happened to you, why would you then say that in fact they're not interested initially? They may well come back, as you said, they will come back to you.
They might, but this is the thing. It's been a year, and this is an egregious, a terrible human rights travesty, and for that to be treated as if it's some administrative thing that needs to be dealt with eventually in time, I think that is part of what we are saying is problematic in the way that is approached. 93 people were killed by the state. It needs urgent and immediate action. A commission was called simply because a statement was made by a police commissioner. 93 people lost their lives and nobody's acted. So it shows you where the importance is here. It's on political performance rather than on protecting the lives and the human rights.
Is there
of South
anything
Africans.
preventing, outside, one commission and another commission and a third, is there anything preventing actual criminal charges being laid?
Well, we've tried to do that, and we are allowing the process to unfold. So like I say, now we're in the state where, because the state has not acted, we're now investigating everything, including the laying of charges of murder.
I mean, listen,
against,
I'm not there to
individuals.
choose one side over the other, but I mean, then don't delay that too long. Otherwise, you'll be accused of the same thing that you're accusing the other commissions of doing, just stalling on the whole process. If you get my point.
We have a long trail of engagement. We have been pushing this behind the scenes, both in Parliament with the Madlanga Commission, at all the avenues that we can potentially do that, without any success. So, we've tried everything available to us locally, and we now have to look at other avenues.
All right, just to conclude very quickly as before we wrap up, in terms of overseas or in America, is it the United Nations? Is it the U.S. government? Who are you approaching it?
Well, at this stage, we are going to be approaching the United Nations. There are various rapporteurs that investigate certain matters, so we are going to be making a submission to them. We're also going to be looking at the International Criminal Court of Justice as a potential avenue. But like I say, I'm currently in discussions with a range of people here in New York around what those options are, and we're trying to plot a pathway forward.
Okay. I mean, you wouldn't want Donald Trump to do your bidding, would you?
No, but there are other institutions that potentially can apply pressure to the state, which we are considering.
Okay. Fascinating indeed. Well, just not just fascinating, very important. Christopher Rutledge, thanks for your time. The Executive Director of Mining Affected Communities United in Action. This relates to what happened a year ago at the shaft number 11, Stilfontein, where 93 people were confirmed dead. And here's the point. They were trapped underground, many of them allegedly working illegally there, as I said, zamas. But bottom line to it, aid was not allowed to go down. So therefore the allegation is effectively they were starved to death. And that issue, there's been no fall guy for that. What's your take on that? This is the National Pulse.
You can become a victim of a legal problem: wrongful arrest, assault, uncontested divorce, rental disputes, maintenance matters, or labor problems. It can happen to you. Clientele Legal provides tough professional lawyers for an affordable monthly premium. Our legal team is standing by to assist you 24 hours a day. Join today. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
With the ever-changing financial landscape, it can be difficult to make sense of all the moves at times. Join me, Jimmy Moyaha, on the SAFM Market Update with MoneyWeb, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 to 7 p.m, as we break down the key market trends, top financial stories, and smart investment insights, all in one place. It's everything you need to stay financially informed and ahead of the curve.
Ashraf Garda on the National Pulse.
Right, we're going to get to some of your comments because I want reaction clearly just now. Now, one of the things I've noticed is the drop-off in sales of motor cars, predominantly luxury German motor cars in South Africa, because they're just too expensive, right? And maybe others, although like established brands like from Japan, like Toyota and Nissan, for example. And then the rise of cars from Korea and China, which really means for all of us, and they look pretty cool cars. So what that really means for all of us is we're getting decent cars, lots of fancy trappings at maybe 1/3 discount of what you would normally expect to pay for something similar in the luxury car market. One of the downsides of that has been up to now the sense of lack of investment in production facilities in South Africa. So the argument has been it's like the manufacturing sector when it came to textiles. So you come with something much cheaper to sell clothes to South Africa, and it destroys the entire textile industry. But I understand there's a significant change regarding that, specifically with the car called Chery, Chery. Of course, you've seen them, right? Because the Motor Industry Association, MISA, they've welcomed what it calls Chery's investment in South Africa. There's an investment in terms of Chery, I understand, taking over or the acquiring of the Nissan's production plant in Rossland. So what does all this mean? Sonia Carsten is the manager of MISA's Media and Communications Department. Appreciate you joining us on the National Pulse.
Good afternoon to you and to your listeners. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Of course, where you are, I mean, you'll be there about protecting jobs. So help us understand what actually has been agreed upon first, and then we'll look at the context of what it means for the workers.
Okay, so Nissan realized that it's no longer affordable and financially sustainable for them to run their Rossland plant. Precisely for the reasons you mentioned earlier in the program, the Chinese brands are causing massive competitiveness in the retail motor industry, resulting in putting all the brands under pressure. The Chinese cars are even competing with each other. So Nissan then decided how to face with this problem as what do we do? Do we close down this plant, 60-year-old production plant, or do we get someone else to take it over from us? And that's exactly what they did. They struck the deal with Chery, and Chery will be taking over the plant. They will still be producing some of the Nissan vehicles, but predominantly Chery, and without affecting the existing employees.
Okay, so Nissan, as we know it, would still exist in South Africa, but their cars will be produced by a different company. But I take it that the numbers would be reduced compared to before because the demand has dropped off, right?
Yes, they will only continue with that it is financially viable to them. Obviously, they're selling less and less cars. The example they had this morning was a bakkie, for instance. That's no longer trading as it was in the past. But Chery will be manufacturing its vehicles and assembling its vehicles at the very same plant.
Okay, then what about Chery? So Chery will not only manufacture the on-demand Nissan vehicles, they would manufacture their own cars, right? Which up to now they were effectively importing. What? Totally, or importing in pieces and then assembling it here. What was it up to now?
As I understood, they were importing the majority thereof. So, in other words, if the assembly would be bits and pieces, but the vehicles were imported today.
Okay, so I take it based upon what I've seen from your side is you are happy with the outcome. Tell me more.
Yes. It's a bit more forward thinking from Nissan to realize that we have to look at the bigger picture, and the bigger picture is not to close a factory and retrench all the staff. The bigger picture is exactly what Nissan did, is trying to find a solution that would benefit Nissan and that will benefit its employees. And we think that's a very responsible approach. We've always been of the view that we should have more Chinese vehicle manufacturers investing in South Africa, either in manufacturing here or manufacturing at least some of its components here. And we said that Chery is taking the lead in that regard, and we are very, very grateful to see that there's a turn in what has been to date a very negative impact. Of the Chinese brand.
So when you say negative, it's been positive because the prices are cheaper, but negative in terms of that means they don't hire any staff because they were effectively, besides like showroom staff, right? Because all these the in the labor market in assembly, they don't come from Chery. That's changed. Is it only Chery, or are there other car manufacturers, Chinese ones, that are also having a complete rethink and an investment in South Africa?
Well, we haven't had confirmation of any other brands coming into South Africa, but yes, there has been a lot of speculation in the media that they are looking at sites and considering, but no confirmation. But it would be great if that could be the case.
Okay, what was at stake when we heard that sort of Nissan were halting production by and large? I mean, what was at stake for you? Because you talk about labor and employees, right? What was at stake in terms of people losing their jobs?
Well, we don't have a figure for the manufacturing plant itself because we don't represent the automotive people at the manufacturing site itself. We are in the retail motor industry, and Nissan, like all other of the European brands that you mentioned earlier, are under tremendous strain. You don't see them selling the vehicles that they used to because the Chinese cars are coming in. If you look at the monthly figures of vehicle sales, you'll find new names on that top 20 list that you've never seen there before.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
Also, although we've got record sales, we had record sales in October, November, and December. It's no longer the traditional brands that's selling.
All right, and this could well spark. So that shift has already occurred, but this could spark off far huger investment on the labour side, on the production side for the country. Have you been speaking to other motor industry leaders in terms of that? It could even be like trade and industry about encouraging that to happen.
Well, yes, we through FEDUSA, our federation, we've been in talks with trade and industry. We also obviously at NETLAC, where this issue is quite dominant. We try to look at what's the way forward. How can we mitigate the negative impact on the retail industry, dealerships closing down, no longer being able to sell their brands, even if they are investing in Chinese brands, they're still not making enough to run the overhead costs. It's got a huge impact on used vehicle side. People can afford a new Chinese car instead of buying a used car. So that's a negative impact for us as a trade union. Positive for consumers, they've got a bigger choice, much more goodies included in the price, as you mentioned earlier. But we need to have a win-win situation for both parties. We will never be able to wish away the Chinese brands. They are here to stay, and we need to embrace it, but we need to find a workable solution.
Okay, let's leave it at that. Appreciate your time. Sonia Carstens, I was suggesting maybe I should just have a look at one of these Chinese cars. I haven't done that before. Sonia Carstens, manager of MISA, M-I-S-A, their Media and Communications Department, and that's the Motor Industry Staff Association, reflecting on the news now that the Rossland plant that was run by Nissan will now be run by Chery, and it's a big investment in production for Chery, and then Chery for Nissan in South Africa. News headlines, here's Ondela.
Thank you, Ashraf. On the news headlines, the Democratic Alliance in Gauteng has called on the Provincial Department of Education to resist from placing children far from where they live. The party held a picket at the department's Tshwane West district. Prepaid consumers are set to benefit after the Independent Communications Authority of South Africa amended the rules on mobile data bundle expiry. And the SADC regional bloc says it's working around the clock alongside its partners to assist Mozambicans affected by floods. FL Update follows at the top of the hour with Greg Gous.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good afternoon. Starting off in Gauteng, there's a crash reported on the N1 northbound in Centurion near Botha Avenue, the N3 northbound in Bedfordview, slow moving on the link to the N12 East at Kilulis Interchange, and the M1 southbound slow moving towards Boysons. A crash on the N2 southbound at Madlanga in KZN, a stationary vehicle on the N2 southbound at Solomon Mhlangu Drive, and a stationary vehicle on the N3 northbound after Chatterton Road. And in Cape Town, the M5 southbound is slow moving towards Racecourse Road, and Beach Road eastbound is slow moving along Muizenberg Beach. With your traffic update, I'm Irma G.
This is SAFM Sports with Duming Khapele.
To me, I tell you what, there's not a day that there's something dull in the world of sport. There's always things going on. What's top of your agenda?
Absolutely. Well, this hour we're talking all things Olympics, and South Africa will be sending its largest ever delegation to the Winter Olympic Games, with 5 athletes named for the Milano Cortina 2026. Teenagers Thomas Weir and Laura Mathela will compete in alpine skiing, joined by Melissa Melherb in freestyle and Nicole Berger in skeleton and Matthew Smith in cross-country skiing. All 5 will be making their Olympic debuts. Now, 3-time Winter Olympian Alex Heath has been appointed which shared a mission bringing experience from Nagona back in 1998 and also Salt Lake City 2002 and Turin 2006. The games run from the 6th to the 22nd of February in Italy. In football, South African football fans are in for a special treat as the FIFA World Cup Trophy Tour returns to the country for the first time since 2018. The original FIFA World Cup Trophy will be in Johannesburg this weekend, the 30th and the 31st of January, before heading to Cape Town on the 1st of February, giving fans a rare chance to see football's most prized trophy up close. The tour is basically a build-up on excitement ahead of the World Cup 2026, which will be hosted by Canada, Mexico, and the United States. Meanwhile, Orlando Pirates coach Abdeslam Wadu has set out his expectations for the club's new January signings as the Soweto Giants strengthen for the second half of the season. Pirates confirmed the arrivals of attackers Andre de Jong and Daniel Msendami along with defender Mpho Chabatsane. And after their goalless draw at Sekhukhune United in the Betway Premiership, Wadu singled out de Jong's quality as he outlined what the newcomers bring to the squad.
You know, the players who came to join us in Orlando Pirates, you know, we don't choose them like that, you know. We choose them regarding what we need, regarding the input that they can bring, the qualities they can bring. And speaking about Andre, I think it's a player that can bring us his intelligence, his cleverness, you know, playing between the lines is very clever, and of course to use all this capacity of finishing as well, because he can he's a number 10, but he can get in the box and to finish, you know. He has an international experience. He has a big experience in the PSL, and I'm sure it's the kind of player he will help us.
On to rugby. Despite sitting second on the URC and securing a Champions Cup playoff spot, Stormers boss John Dobson admits that the 2019 home defeat to the Sharks was his most disappointing moment of the season. The Cape side have lost just 2 of 13 matches, and they still have a game in hand on leaders Glasgow Warriors, but troubling signs have emerged at home. Dobson's men remain well placed, but their title challenge may hinge on rediscovering the discipline and game management that carried them throughout the Northern Tour. In terms of motorsport, Formula One begins a new era this week as teams start pre-season testing in Spain. 10 of the 11 teams are taking part in a private test at the circuit de Barcelona of the first of the 3 tests ahead of the new season, which starts with the Australian Grand Prix. This is for the 6th to the 8th of March. The sport has introduced its biggest rule changes ever with completely new cars, including new engines, tires and fuel, and because of this, teams have been given more testing time than last season, and this week's test is being held privately as teams focus on preparations and reliability, and 2 more tests will follow in Bahrain later in February, with only the final test broadcast live. On that note, it's a wrap from my side for now. I'll have more in the next hour.
Economic news on SAFM. Facts and figures you can count on.
Right, and all those numbers coming with Makwe Masilela from Makwe Fund Managers. Do you want to start with cash build, Makwe?
Yes, Ashraf. Afternoon to you. Group revenue up 1%. Transactions through the tills up 2%. Selling inflation up is sitting at 0.8%, giving them a room to be able to raise prices if it need arises. And basically, cash build has been helped by new shops as existing outlets lost ground. And Ashraf, all share index reached record highs. Global worries remain elevated as Trump warned on Saturday that he will impose 100% tariff on Canada if they sign a free trade deal with China. But Canada said, no, we don't have those intentions. And market participants looking forward to U.S. interest rate decision on Wednesday, where they are expected to leave rates unchanged. Then on Thursday, we expect our central bank to delight us with a rate cut because of expected lower average inflation rate. The rand firming up as the dollar weakens. and that's at the back of speculation that the US may assist Japan in efforts to weaken the dollar versus the yen. The debasement debate is reopening, and the strongest level for the rand since June 2022, that is, it has firmed so far 3% this year. That's after going up 14% last year. The rand Ashraf touched 15.99, boosting prospects of lower inflation and interest rate. The JSE joined the party, reaching record highs as emerging market stocks got a lift. So far this year, the JSE gained 6.8%. Oil prices are consolidating after last week's strong gains. Geopolitical tensions still remain. As we are talking, Brent crude is down almost 1% at $65 a barrel. And after going up by almost 8% last week and 17% so far this year, today gold smashed through the 5,000 an ounce level, extending a breakneck rally fueled by Trump's reshaping of international relations and investor flight from sovereign bonds and currencies. And gold, as we're talking, is up 1.7%, sitting at $5,073. The JSE is up now 1.4%. The rand is now just back above the 16, trading 1603 against the dollar, 21.92 against the pound, and 19.01 against the euro.
Right, got all of that. Thanks for that, Mark. We appreciate your time. Don't forget, 6 to 7, 1 hour of the markets with Jimmy Moyaha.
You are listening to the National Pulse with Ashraf Garda.
So you heard the story overnight about the, potential merger of Action SA with other parties. So now we know that it's with the AICM and CCM. They may be not the most famous names in the country. AICM, the Azanian Independent Community Movement, and CCM is the Creative Congress Movement. Very much grassroots, community-based, but certainly a plan for Action SA to what they call, broaden the green umbrella. Your thoughts, reaction, welcome. What about other reaction too? Tabo in Germiston, go for it.
Hi, good afternoon, Ashraf. How are you?
I'm very good indeed, thanks. Right, what's your point, Tabo?
Yeah, Ashraf, the gentleman that you spoke to earlier on regarding the, the miners who died.
Yes.
And the mine and so on. Listen, I've got a problem with all this NGOs and this other political parties who each time when you hear about them, they always propagate, for the so-called human rights and so on of criminals, and mostly foreign criminals, who, and let me be specific. I mean, we've got miners here. I'm not saying what happened to them was correct, but now we've got miners who, came into the country illegally. Most of them, if not all, didn't have proper documents to be in the country. That's point number one. Point number two, they didn't have licenses and permissions and so on, to mine, in this country. And then you've got these guys, including the gentleman that was on radio earlier on, propagating for their rights. I never hear them propagating for the rights of South Africans who are living in this country.
Well, I mean, but to be fair, maybe they are, but maybe they are. Maybe you just don't know enough about it. And I know someone said, but you haven't asked them about their position on Zama. I think it's well known that they are supportive. So I mean, I get that part, right? But you think that they're wrong?
They don't, Ashraf. I tend to disagree with you there because right now, as me and you speak, as we are speaking right now, last week already, actually as we are speaking, there are communities in the West Rand who have been evicted from their houses, by these illegal miners. There's a whole lot of other communities who have been harassed and killed, and so police, even now as we speak, they're still investigating several murders which were carried out, by apparent illegal miners in this country. It shows you, Arsaf, that this illegal mining or illegal miners are wreaking havoc. And you've got these organizations propagating for their so-called, and they're even prepared. I mean, the gentleman was...
But can I leave it at that, Tabo? Only because I think you've made your point, and you made it point very, very clearly, and I'm sure there's going to be a reaction on what you've said. We've heard that before. We're bound to hear it again. Tabo in Germiston, thank you for that, right? Right, let's stay with that point. Here's it.
Afternoon, Ashraf. I'm going to remain anonymous because of my comments. Well, first of all, we understand that mostly of them are Zamazamas, which means this is just my assumption that they are all foreign nationals who came here to to sort of take away our resources underground illegally. So, and I do believe that the cops were just waiting for them to come up so that they can arrest them. So I don't understand how were they trapped there if they had the option to get out and get arrested. And the other thing, your guest there seems to be very passionate about the subject. My question is, which organization is working for, and since when do we help criminals?
Since when do we help criminals? I'm just going to leave that to be answered by anybody else who wants to pick up on it. Thank you for that.
Good afternoon, Ashraf and the listeners. Listening to your guest there regarding the Zamazamas. I think these people want fame or something, because clearly I don't understand. The government did not close the exit and said those people must not come out, and then they were starved to death. But the government said stop sending them the food, they must come out. So they had a choice, they had an option to come out, but they decided not to. So how a government was supposed to act or react regarding that?
Look, I mean, we've visited that story before, and I mean that is why an investigation matters. That means, was the government within its rights to say we're not going to support foods to feed you down under, you must come up, and they don't want to come up because they'll be arrested, for example, right? And in not coming up, they then sadly die. I think the basis of conversation right now is not so much what happened then, but what should be happening in terms of investigations, if anything, as per the conversation I had with the guest I had, which is Christopher Rutledge, by the way, Executive Director for the Mining Affected Communities United in Action. Right, I'll tell you what, here's a need from the police service. They need dogs.
Ashraf Garda on the National Pulse.
I tell you what, maybe I'm a bit naive. I can't remember ever talking about this on any media platform, which is the South African Police Service in the Eastern Cape region, particularly are appealing to the public, and it's urgent for the donations of dogs to bolster its K9 units. And I think maybe the word K9 can well mean K9 if you get exactly my point, right? Let's understand what's the story here. Warrant Officer Majola Nkokli, the Eastern Cape SAPS provincial spokesperson. Thank you for joining us on the National Pulse.
Most welcome, sir. Let me take this opportunity to extend my greetings to you and your team and to your listeners.
Thank you. Right, so the request is for more dogs. Give me some context.
Come again?
The request is you have a need for more dogs to be drafted into the police unit. Tell me more. So how did we get to this situation?
Remember, in the country we have one center for the SAPS that is responsible for the breeding. And due to COVID and other factors, that was affected hugely. Generally in the country we have a shortage of dogs, and particularly in the Eastern Cape. We are sitting now with 43 trained handlers without the dogs. And in the Eastern Cape as a whole, we have 16 K9 units that are fully functional. However, out of those, 43 trained handlers are without dogs. Even though we do have dogs here and there, but they are very few. So in terms of service delivery, it really impairs it, especially when it comes to essential crime fighting and search and rescue and crime detection operations.
All right. So I understand the shortage of dogs. So how would you normally have secured the dogs if it's not through breeding?
We do accept some. Remember, we secure dogs in various ways. It's through breeding, and then since we have a facility that does that nationally, it's one. And then we accept donations from various stakeholders. It can be a private person who wants to donate to the SAPS, there is a process that has to be followed, or there are institutions or companies or institutes that could make a financial contribution to purchase, to buy dogs on behalf of, and then they can make that a lump sum donation.
Okay. So now that you have the shortage, I mean, your appeal is to the public. Say the public are unable to, reply and help you with your appeal. Then you're in trouble, right? What are the implications besides the 47 dog handlers who are effectively out of a job, or they getting paid for not being able to do anything?
No, they are placed in other duties. They do crime prevention duties, but now the only thing that is a snag, they don't have dogs to do canine activities, but they do patrols with vehicles and other things. So they are placed in relevant fields, in relevant areas. So they do work, but unfortunately they are operating without their partners. Is this?
I mean, does this happen often where you're so short that you have to call the public, invite them to contribute because there's no other options available?
No, remember, this is not only unique to the Eastern Cape. This challenge is throughout the country. It does affect other provinces as well. As we speak, ever since we released this media statement, this appeal to the public, we have so far received a donation of 30 dogs currently from the day, from the time that we released the media statement on yesterday. So we have so far received a donation of 30 dogs, which are coming from other parts of the province. So it goes to show that people are responding to our request for this donation. So we are making inroads. So we would love those who are interested, companies or individuals, institutes who may be interested in donating the dogs, to contact our coordinator at 0872 734 0116. I repeat, 072 735 0116.
Okay. Well, I would take it. I mean, these are dogs that are guard dogs, so there'll be specific breeds. What type of breeds are you looking for?
The breeds that we are looking for are your German Shepherds, Belgian Malinois, Labrador Retrievers, Rottweilers, Bloodhounds, Border Collies, Jack Russells, and Dutch Shepherds.
Okay.
But they must meet a specific, there are certain requirements that the dogs must meet. The dogs must be healthy, confident, energetic, and not fearful of people or loud noises. Those are basic requirements.
And the dogs must be available to be transferred, I suppose, if you ask them. Yeah. Okay, got that. I've got the number 0727350116. I'll repeat that, 0727350116. Hopefully we'll tweet it out as well on our on the SFM Radio Twitter and Facebook account, so people can follow that up too. Much appreciate your time. There we are. Interesting one indeed. There's a shortage of dogs in the Eastern Cape, but not exclusively Eastern Cape. It applies to other parts of the country as well. Would you be one of the people who are able to help? There's more comments on Zamazamas, I can tell you now, and on the cherry car and other forms of illegal mining. Anybody want to comment on the Madlanga Commission? We haven't had many comments today about it. What does that suggest? That today it's fairly muted. Some days are just a lot more hectic and busy and fires the imagination more than other days, or emotions, I should say. Either way, this is the National Pulse. I'll get to you in a moment.
You're listening to the National Pulse on SAFM.
Right, let's get to some of the calls first. Of course, you as the caller, you're very much part of what is the National Pulse community. Believe me, it's important. Sibongile in Soweto, thank you for joining us. Go for it.
Hi, Ashraf. How are you?
I'm good indeed. Good to hear from you. Thank you. What's your point?
I'm good. Ashraf, I nearly hit the roof when I heard that guy being so myopic about this illegal mining story of last year.
Okay.
He is
Why?
Short-sighted on that. My issue here is recently, in a week ago, we had people, communities leaving their homes from fear of these zamazamas. And no one, it was not as loud as now the matter of last year has to go to court. And there is so much pressure that he wants to, who is he advocating for? And if it's a human rights thing, why can't he do the same with the recent case? Because if it's human rights, then everyone should have a right to survival and protection.
Okay. Well, I mean, listen, that's why it's complex, and you may wonder, I mean, you've heard there were some contradictions. He suggests nobody wants to do anything, and then he suggested they are trying to do something, including the Madlanga Commission, but they've acknowledged and they'll come back, and he's sure they're going to do something. But he felt free right now to go to, I think, the ICC, as well as the United Nations and other lobby groups in the USA, which I must say I do find a bit puzzling. On the other hand, I think the point that we all make is like, how do you balance out the fact that these illegal miners have a right to live, even if they are illegal? So, Sibongile, thank you for that call from Soweto, right? Salo in Mokopane, hello, Salo.
Thank you, Ashraf. I'm concerned about how we should support illegal miners. They have right to live. I'm struggling to understand that. I hope you don't mean in that way. I understand you saying it. And to support.
Well, I mean, let me just jump in there. I mean, listen, I don't know.
Please,
I mean, if a person is, I mean, let me put it this way: if a person jumps the fence, the border of our country, and comes to the country illegally, does that mean they must be arrested, or they can be shot, meaning they have no right to live? They normally would be arrested, put in prison, and then sent back. Back to the country. That means they do have a right to live in our country, if you understand. Now, am I reading that incorrectly?
Yes, Ashraf. I think most of the time when we deal with this, and in most cases, especially we deal with the laws, we keep on calling people who are not protecting the laws of the country, but of these criminals. And then we talk about the same thing each and every day. And some of us who have been listening to radio, it annoys us. Because it seems like, it looks like, or it is the way it is. Our government itself, Ashraf, they are protecting this nonsense of criminals who come here without papers, without any documentation, and then they do illegal stuff.
But my question to you very quickly, Salo, is I'm not asking you. Salo, my question is, I'm not asking you whether they have right to trade. I'm saying, do you have the right to live?
Also listen to me.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Let's debate.
Go for it.
Let's debate. Let me go on. I'll answer your question. So we should go away totally, Ashraf, with illegal people especially, Ashraf. We must call people who can interpret the laws if we don't know how to tell us why are we keeping on protecting this nonsense, Ashraf. It is very tiring. Like a mother who just called now, who said the same guy who were complaining now, crying about those illegal people who have been killed and so forth. Where were they last week? Did you, SAFM or yourself or your production team, call this guy to say what is your comment in regard of these people who have been chased away by this criminal?
Okay. All right. I hear you. I don't think there's more to debate, because it's not a debate. I mean, if they're here illegally, they're here illegally. So I'm not questioning their right to work if they are working illegally. Technically, if they are here illegally, they can't work. What I said from the beginning was, does a person in the country, and it's a point I'm putting forward, not to you, to anybody. If you are in the country illegally, do you still have the right to live? Or can you be killed off, if you understand what I'm trying to say? Not by me, hey, not at all. It is an ethical issue that I think is important, and that goes to the heart of the question regarding those miners and the need to be smoked out. So thank you for that, Salo. You've put your points on the agenda. Very important one indeed, I would say. Comments about the dogs?
Ashraf, afternoon. Ashraf, I fail to understand how come police run out of dogs. Now, I hear the explanation and the reasons, but you have SPCA constantly has dogs, and which specific breed are they looking for? Maybe the SPCA cannot provide the breed they're having, but let it be clear to which breed are they looking for. Maybe we can assist, but I think the SPCA would be the relevant structure to can quickly assist on that.
Okay.
Unless someone is not using that opportunity fully. Z from the 14.
Thanks, Z. Maybe they don't have their number. I'm just joking. Okay, but I think you get my point. That I also find it very surprising that they would get into this position right now, isn't it? You'd think they'd be able to have sorted out a long time ago. But clearly that's not the case, right? The breeds, you heard maybe the spokesperson giving all the names, but they're all, typically police dog types, German Shepherds, Rottweilers. They mentioned a few others too.
Ashraf, good afternoon. It's Dumiso from Waterfall in KZN. The government and in fact the population as a whole must be very careful. As the population, we might come to a point where we say, we wanted Donald Trump. We understand the risks. We might end up with a ice-like situation. But if the government is not going to be dealing with control of immigration, then we may as well go for the Trump solution. They must be very careful. This thing of immigration, it must be taken very seriously, Ashraf. Because right now it looks like the government is not. As time goes on, we might end up really saying, let's take the Trump solution. Because this is not working. It's not.
All right. Look, I hear you. I don't think you're wrong. That government has got to govern, and they need to explain with a very clear policy what exactly are they going to do. There's a quick comment about the motor cars, the cherry cars.
Good afternoon, Ashraf. I just want to specifically have a comment with regards to the conversation you're having with the, I forget the lady's name, the representative of Sherry, that electric vehicle company. I would think that government should take the approach of having all these Chinese electric vehicles that are being dumped into our country, because it feels like they're dumping these cars and they're not having plantations around the country. They should have a bunch of plantations so we can create jobs, and it will alleviate poverty in some way or another, I would think. Daniel here in Bryanston.
But did you listen to the conversation? And in fact, it wasn't with the Cherry spokesperson. It was on the motor industry umbrella body that, in fact, that's exactly what's been decided. Cherry will now begin a production plant. Isn't that significant? Right, let's get the news. It's 5 o'clock. Here's Greg.
Thank you, Ashraf. Call on Education Department over placement of learners in SADC to assist flood-hit Mozambique. Good day to you. The DA has called on the Gauteng Provincial Education Department to resist from placing children far from where they live. The party held a picket at the department's Swane West District offices. The picket comes as the department scrambles to place all the learners who are yet to be placed in schools in the province. The DA's Bronwyn Engelbrecht says the department continues to place children in places like Soshanguve north of Pretoria, far from their homes, risking their safety.
The safety implications for parents is huge, and the financial implications is huge. The other challenge that we find is that a lot of parents from areas like Soshanguve, their children are being placed at schools in Pretoria North. So there's a problem from the department side.
Meanwhile, the spokesperson for the Provincial Education Department, Steve Mabona, has dismissed the DA's allegations.
DA is campaigning. It's a silly season, it's 2026, they're campaigning. There's nothing like that. We've placed everyone in that area. Swane West, we've placed children at an alternative school, that is railway. And many parents don't want that school because it's mobile units. But we are pressured, don't have enough schools in the area, and we've been saying alternative schools are assisting us to alleviate the pressure.
Prepaid consumers are set to benefit after the Communications Authority ICASA amended the rules on mobile data bundle expiry. From the 23rd of January next year, South Africa's telecommunications companies will be required to allow consumers to roll over unused mobile data bundles. ICASA's Dikaledi Mushi.
We're trying to balance, the market so that the market stays alive while consumers also enjoy the benefits. Especially on the 7 days, we were just cautious that, these are bundles that are, your 5 rand bundles where somebody quickly wants to buy a bundle for the day to do an urgent call. We did not want to discourage investments and networks to now all of a sudden, get rid of these bundles. So
the Polokwane High Court in Limpopo has heard that the remains of 2 women who were shot dead were allegedly disposed of in a pigsty so the pigs would eat the bodies and conceal the evidence. This has been revealed by state witness Rudolph de Wet during his testimony. Accused number 1 and the farm owner, Zakaria Olivier, is on trial for killing them and discarding the remains. Another accused faces charges of defeating the ends of justice for allegedly taking part in disposing the bodies. This is de Wet being cross-examined in court.
What was the reason for putting the first body into the pigsty?
Because accused number 1 told me to put it, to help him to put it in there.
The question is, what was the reason for putting the first body in the pigsty? Is it not your evidence that the purpose was for the pig to devour the bodies?
Yes, I think that is what I said previously.
The SADC regional bloc says it's working around the clock alongside its partners to assist Mozambicans affected by floods. Its emergency response team has arrived in the southern African nation. Kaelikle Kumalo reports.
The deployment of the SADC Emergency Response Team forms part of the SADC's regional disaster response mechanisms to support Mozambique following the declaration of a red alert and the subsequent appeal for humanitarian assistance. Some of the affected provinces include Gaza, Sofala and Maputo, where a number of areas remain submerged and inaccessible, with extensive damage to roads, public facilities and other critical infrastructure. Some fatalities have been recorded as well. Kaelikle Kumalo, SABC News, Johannesburg.
The top story, the DA has called on the Gauteng Education Department to resist from placing learners far from where they live. That's SAFM News, I'm Greg Gus.
In sports, the Sawa Proteas ready for West Indies T20 series as World Cup looms. South Africa names record 5-athlete squad for Milano Cortina Winter Olympics, and Sri Lanka sweeps aside England to set up a Burkina quarterfinal at the Australian Open. More details at 5:30.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good afternoon. Starting off in Gauteng, the N1 southbound and four ways queuing towards Winnie Mandela Drive, the N12 westbound and Lenasia queuing towards the R558 Protea Glen exit. In KZN, there's a stationary vehicle on the N2 northbound at the N3 and a stationary vehicle on the N3 northbound after Chatterton Road. In Cape Town, the N1 outbound has a stationary vehicle before Monte Vista exit, and on the R60, there's a crash reported north of Robertson. With your traffic update, I'm Irma G.
Stay safe on the roads. SAFM is with you.
You can become a victim of a legal problem: wrongful arrest, assault, uncontested divorce, rental disputes, maintenance matters, or labor problems. It can happen to you. Clientele Legal provides tough professional lawyers for an affordable monthly premium. Our legal team is standing by to assist you 24 hours a day. Join today. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
As we celebrate 90 years of existence, SAFM takes you back to the voices that shaped a nation.
Now leave the SABC and see the tower block lit up, 27 stories of light. Move from Auckland Park into the shadow of the Hillbrow Post Office Tower.
This is the English service of the SABC. Here is the news read by Patricia Carr. A member of the Planning Committee of the President's Council, Mr. Nick Tuernicht, has been appointed chairman of the Council's Community Relations Community.
90 years of trusted voices. This is SAFM. The National Pulse with Ashraf Garda on SAFM. You're listening to the National Pulse, weekdays 3 to 6 p.m.
Well, that's about. Here's a story that's certainly going to capture your imagination. And I think not just myself, I think Jimmy Moya listening in will say, yes, I need to talk about this too. And I'm talking about the launching of the African Next Gen Economist Prize. It's been put together by Jean Afrique and the Africa Report. Let's find out more about it because it has huge implications, I would think, with Liane de Bassompierre, the business editor of the Africa Report. Liane, thank you for joining us on the National Pulse.
Thank you for having me, Ashraf. Look, we're at a turning point for the continent. I've heard you saying this several times on your show. We see it at many, many conventions and conferences. And for decades, Ashraf, African economic policy has often been shaped by outside perspectives. The Africa Next Gen Economist Prize is about changing that narrative. We're looking for the brightest young African minds, those under 40, who are doing world-class research on debt, the digital economy, and climate change. We're trying to move the conversation from academic theory to continental impact. And with a 10,000 euro grant that's up for grabs and the backing of the African Development Bank, this isn't just an award, Ashraf, it's a launch pad. People who will design Africa's financial future. So if you're a PhD holder, a solution for our growth, we want to hear from you before the 15th of February deadline.
Okay, so you're given that already. You got like just over 2 weeks to get your act together. And I mean, you mentioned the point about PhD research. I mean, is that the level that you're looking for in terms of the type of entries you expect, and not much lower?
Yes, absolutely. That is what we're looking for. And a colleague of mine came up with the idea for this prize because when we were writing economic stories, the people that we were quoting were largely from universities or economists from elsewhere. There are a few economists that we have on the continent, but they are few and far between. And there are many young people that are studying economics who do have PhDs, but are stuck away doing research in universities. And we want to bring that research from the ivory tower of universities to the streets and to find out how they can bring solutions to our problems on the continent.
Okay. And therefore, this eventual winner, would that be one person or would that be an organization? Because you are talking about a researcher, right?
Yes. So, as I said, very important, under 40 can be from any of the 54 countries on the continent. It is a very highly prestigious prize. The jury includes heavyweights like Vera Songwe, who's the chair of the Liquidity and Sustainability Facility, Grieve Chalwa from the Africa Institute, and Anthony Simpasa from the African Development Bank. So it's a mix of top-tier academics and people who actually pull the levers of finance on the continent. So we'll have the number of entries by the 15th of February, and then this jury will sit down and have a look at who's shortlisted, and one person will be awarded the prize at the Africa CEO Forum in Kigali on the 14th and 15th
All right,
of
so the
May
prize is to a
this
person, not even to the organization that person may represent. Anyway, I got that right.
To a person.
Yeah, got that. What
Exactly.
about when did you were saying about the prize? When would we expect that? When will that be announced? Is there a date already for that?
Yes. So as I said, the 15th of February, applications need to be in. We will then sit with the applications. A jury will then look at the shortlist. And then from the 14th to the 15th of May, the Africa CEO Forum is taking place in Kigali in Rwanda. And the winner of this prize will be announced at that event.
Okay, that sounds absolutely fabulous. And coming up, I think on Africa Day coming up in that period as well, all makes complete sense to me anyway, right?
Exactly.
Just give me your thoughts on two things. I mean, what are your thoughts about the level of research in those categories? Maybe just repeat the categories again so we can get it. But what are your thoughts as a pronouncement on the level of research on the continent?
Well, we have top universities. Our universities often get awarded prizes and on these rankings lists. So we do have these subjects being offered at the university. We just need to make sure, and our job, both mine and yours, is to make sure that young people are being attracted by those industries, that they are looking at economics. And a lot of the policy that we see being framed today is based on a blueprint of the 1990s, and we're looking for solutions now based on an old blueprint. And we're saying that young people are at universities now, they are studying economics, and we want to bring their thought leadership out there in the open so that we all can benefit from what it is that they are studying. So the level is there. It's just about finding the people that are actually doing the research.
Now, I mean, what and it's been a bugbear for me for a long time, is often when I've spoken to people and done interviews with them over the years, and they would suggest, yes, a concept works, and then I would say, how do you know? And their response is, well, it's been tested in the States and tested in the UK, and I can just predict that's what's going to be said, and that has always irritated me. I take it that one of the one of the plans around the Next Gen Economist Prize is in fact just that, to amplify African economists as quotable visionaries and luminaries, not just on the continent but around the world, right?
Exactly, Ashraf. So basically, I mean, we're looking for a PhD, but also people that are actually working on African solutions. So as I mentioned, working on debt sustainability, working on the energy transition. As you were saying, they're looking at solutions that have worked in Europe or in the Western world, but there are so many that come out of the continent in solar energy, and applying those specific principles as part of our just energy transition. Also on digital transformation, young people are spearheading research into this. So it's from, as I said, bringing that research from the universities into the streets, into the public domain.
Okay, I'm going to suggest that your organization tags SAFM Radio, and you can certainly tag me. In fact, you can also tag Champion South Africa. I promise you we'll share that too from that platform too, but others, if you can do that. But also at the same time, perhaps just give us a website address or a contact number or a social media page that we can go to.
Exactly. So if you're an African PhD holder under 40, apply by the 15th of February at africanextgen.economistprize@jeunafrique.com. Jeunafrique is JEUNEAFRIQUE.com. And let's see you in Kigali this May at the Africa CEO Forum to help shape the continent's future.
Okay, terrific. But please, post it on social media and just tag us so we can share that too. I think it's very important we do that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your support, Ashraf.
Thank you.
For this very wonderful cause.
This speaks my language. We
Thank
always say
you.
we want to build champions. I mean, these are the champions we talk about. Liane de Bassompierre, the business editor of the Africa Report, putting together this collaboration from Jeunafrique and the Africa Report. And it's the launch of Africa Next Gen Economist Prize for a PhD in that field with regard to being an economist, but other things related to that in terms of climate change and inequality. I think all that. But go and check them out. I think then you'll know exactly what it is. And the deadline is imminent, 15th of February. Are you excited? Goodness, I would be if I were you. This is the National Pulse.
Ashraf Garda on the National Pulse.
Right, there's lots more comments about, Zamazamas and Cherry, but I'd like you to also comment about this conversation with Liane de Bassompierre, because I'd like reaction, and it must fire your imagination. It should.
Hello, Ashraf. I'm laughing alone. After this, one of your listeners sent a WhatsApp message that the government is allowing the Chinese to dump their cars here in this country. It's because it doesn't know. He has limited information. He needs to research. All these well-known cars, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, Audi, they've asked China to take care of their plants, to run the plants. So he doesn't know. He has limited information. The motor industry, they like it or not, China will run the motor industry. Thank you.
Okay. Ask Donald Trump. He knows something we don't know.
Well, afternoon, Ashraf. This is Thompson Bloemfontein. Ashraf, I hear your point when you are talking about legal people that have a right to live in this country. Yes, they do. But when they are engaging in illegal activities, I think they forfeit that right to live. Ashraf, I was born in the small town called Alandrish. It's a mining town in the Free State. I know the activities of Zamazamas, the guns they have, the killings, especially these guys from Lesotho. Ashraf, they are dangerous.
All right. Well, look, that's your opinion. I'm not even going to go and respond to that because I want others to respond. I want to get a sense of what the pulse feels, because this is the national pulse. So what does the national barometer, the pulse barometer, tell us?
Ashraf, don't run to say they must be killed or what. They must be deported back. They must be sent home. As a South Africans, we need to do revolution, to go door by door and remove all of these rubbish thieves that are full here, illegal. Because the state has already failed to do its job. That's simple. It's Linda from Lady Smith.
Well, look, I wouldn't call it rubbish. I mean, seriously. But yes, the state has to do its job. And I think I heard the point earlier from someone else that the state has a huge responsibility to manage processes, and they haven't done so right.
Good afternoon, SAFM. There's nothing that's going to change in this country when we have people who keep on defending criminals. I don't care whether you're South African or not South African. If you break the law, your rights should be taken away. Because once you're breaking the law, it means that you're destroying the economy that is supposed to provide for South Africans. You are killing people that are supposed to be earning money from the mines that are closed. Because people could be applying for license to have those mines run again, instead of just coming to a country and opening mines and start working on. And also, this gentleman is going to USA. He's fueling the outside influence to come into our country and detect how we run our country. No, this cannot be. Thank you, Anonymous in Cape Town.
Okay, this cannot be, is what you say. Well, look, I mean, I don't know. South Africa's certainly done that. I mean, the ICC is a global body. They've done it with the ICJ as well. I mean, I think the point of difference here is like, it's not like the issue has been exhausted in our country that you'd need to go, because he even said, and this is my point he even said the Madlanga Commission acknowledged the receipt of their request and they will look into it, and he expects them to call them up. So, like, if that's the case, why would you then feel they're not going to deliver and you need to, in the meantime, go to the USA? I mean, that's the part that does puzzle me. It really does. Okay, right. We've got more comments from you.
As we celebrate 90 years of existence, SAFM takes you back to the voices that shaped a nation.
Tolani Gwala will be back again for you 6 to 9 Monday here on SAFM.
And
thanks, Tolani. Good morning and welcome to Morning Talk with me, Kim Gabadeli.
The name is Bonge Kwala. Good to be with you till midday today. Let's engage South Africa.
Welcome to Morning Talk on SAFM, South Africa's news and information leader, with me, Rowena Bird.
90 years of trusted voices. This is SAFM.
Right, so it's still January. January is for intention setting, less the noise, more meaning. So say yes. Yes to beauty, yes to culture, yes to slowing down. And yes to the Montreux Jazz Festival in Franschhoek, where Montreux meets Africa with curated global and African music in an intimate setting. Don't miss it. Get your tickets at the end of January and make this your yes moment. Montreux Jazz Festival, Franschhoek. Say yes. Go to the website to get all the details, and the website is www.mjfsa.com.
The National Pulse, weekdays, 3 to 6 p.m.
Well, I tell you what, I like the fact that, I mean, there's a couple of stories we're talking about today. There's very, very aspirational, right? And here's another one. Have you heard of the Mandela Africa Leadership, or the Mandela African Leadership Summit, to be specific, right? We're going to talk about that with Indaba Mandela coming up pretty shortly. In the meantime, you're on the pulse. I need to feel you. Here it is.
Ashraf, good afternoon to Flores from the beautiful winelands. Ashraf, what is really sad for me about this witness E is that he is in witness protection for almost 7 years now. It is sad that someone must be uprooted, being removed from his family and loved ones. Yeah, what has our country come to? And Minister Umkhunu is central to all of this whole thing. Yeah, that guy should be fired. No longer suspended and living large on our tax money. Have a good show. Bye-bye.
Well, there are processes, you know. I mean, it can't just happen just on one morning.
Good afternoon, Mr. Ashraf. Mbongo Sunday Samboyisa here. Mr. Ashraf, I hear people talking about Mr. Patrice Motsepe to be the president of the republic. I'm totally against that. We don't need these billions. I was hearing the other gent in the morning say, no, he's rich, so he won't steal money. We've got President Ramaphosa now. He's rich. What is he doing? Absolutely nothing. The country is just going down the drain bit by bit. We need a president who will not be coming from the African National Congress, because Sikile Mbalula will be standing behind that president and Gwede Mantashe to remotely control that president. We need a president from other political parties, but not from the ANC. They've got this enough damage. Enough is enough. Away with ANC.
Oh, okay. I hear your points. Listen, I mean, I see there's been sort of lobbying of sorts for Patrice Motsepe. In fact, then there was this quote from Helen Ziller that, in fact, she sort of suggested that he should, that would cause stability. She refuted that this morning on Tula's show. You need to listen to that podcast because the DA also refuted that. She said the stability insofar as something like, it's the brother-in-law of the president. I don't have all the details, but that's by the way. I mean, so here's the thought. If you let me just be very hypothetical about this, okay? And this is not. Don't take me too seriously. If you had to choose a president for our country who's not a politician, so like Patrice Motsepe, I know he's got close ties to political people, but essentially he's not a politician, as you would call it. If you had to, who would that person be? Now, listen, don't take me seriously. It's hypothetical, so don't have long chats about it. Who would that be? A president who is not currently in the political space to be the president. In fact, there's an American who's currently the president who was not part of the political spaces before. His name is Donald Trump. Okay? There's more. Right. What we'll do, in fact, and there's a few more comments before we're just struggling to connect rather to Ndaba Mandela, which we'll do that just for the moment. By the way, did you check this? So the rand is at its strongest level against the dollar since 2016. Number two, South Africa's gold. The price of gold. I say South Africa's gold, like we own all the gold in the world. The price of gold has hit $5,000. If I got it right for the first time, and now it's the highest it's ever been. Wow. Something's happening, man.
Ashraf, China is doing to the motor vehicle industry exactly what it did to the clothing industry in the Western Cape. They're dumping cheap products. They're taking South African manufacturers out of the picture, replacing with cheap Chinese products. They destroyed the clothing industry, and the South African government allowed that to happen in the Western Cape. There was no regulations in place. There was no undertakings or mandates given to China to say if you want to bring cheap stuff in, you're going to invest in the local economy. And the Chinese don't work like that, because if you told them that, they would not be bringing stuff in. Same with the motor vehicle industry. Yeah, it's great that they're taking over the the Nissan plant with Cherry. I can tell you right now, they're going to scale back production there on the Nissan side. They'll cut back on jobs. That's how China operates. China does not invest more money in than what it's going to get out. They don't give. China takes and takes and takes. Our motor vehicle industry is going to collapse in this country. You watch.
Okay, well, I mean, that's what you say. I think the point about the textiles, in fact, I said that myself, right? The motor one, listen, having been to a few conferences that we did shows even in the Eastern Cape around the motor industry, there is an increased awareness from trade and industry and government and local government that these car dealerships, car brands now in South Africa, and they call all these new brands, I can't even remember some of the names, right, that they must invest concurrent to the actual sales of the cars, invest in production. Maybe this is the first one that's significant. So I know what you said about Nissan, but that's Nissan. Why do you think that Nissan can't sell as many as they can before? Yes, I know the prices are cheaper, but that's the challenge that these guys have got to do. Not just Nissan, even the German ones, that they've had the luxury of being around for a long time. They must then come in at a more competitive price. But I'm certainly for what you're saying about overall investing in the production side. Whether it's going to be a complete write-off, I don't know. I hope not.
Ashraf and the SA families now. You see, Ashraf now, the accident of last week of the pupils, of the children, the school children, has passed, and now it's done and dusted. The government will forget, even like maybe going into the taxis, the scrap cars along the road, which like they abusing the people of this country, say like you cannot loot in the people, but they looting the people with the skorokoro. Then after that, they will just waiting for another accident to come and give a statement, because they just keep on giving us a statement.
Okay, I hear that point. Let me just leave it at that, because I think that we may find a response from someone on that issue, right? Here's another.
Ashraf, when it comes to Zamazamas, especially these people are coming from Lesotho, even if you deport them, you're just playing. Because of before that card deporting them, before it returns here at South Africa, they'll be here. There's no border there, man. In Lesotho, there's no border. Those police, they take bribe, and we even cross at the river. So those who are coming from Lesotho, it's just playing. And go to squatter camp, you'll find those people. They're hiding there in the squatter camp. That's where you get the Zamazamas. They're very dangerous. Don't take chances to those people. They kill. They don't play.
So what's the solution then? If I heard what you said about Lesotho, what then would be the solution?
Good afternoon, Ashraf. Anonymous here. Ashraf, I stand with those South Africans that believes these NGO shouldn't be campaigning for these illegal miners. These illegal miners are just criminals. They're making the South African lives horrific. They should be arrested and be sent to prison, that's all.
Done. Sent to prison. That's it. Thank you. Got that. Here's another.
Hello, Ashraf. I'd just like to point out, the guy is coming from the Eastern Cape asking for dogs and saying that there's 47 handlers without dogs. I would like to know, what was the budget allocation for taking care of these dogs? How long has these dogs not been available? And what has happened to the money that has been allocated for the care and well-being of these dogs throughout these years? Because it doesn't just come to a point where you have 47 people without dogs to handle. It must have staged. So please, let me know. Thank you.
Okay. Well, look, I mean, he's gone. I mean, there were many other questions more we could have asked him. We never just have enough time. He said the causes of the shortages come from COVID, number one. But number two, currently, yes, those 47 are doing other work. Because I asked whether they're just sitting around idly. He said, no, they're being redeployed. But that's also no good, isn't it? If that's not what they're known for, then what? I do find this puzzling that you get to an 11th hour and there's a call out for the dogs. What's the plan? Right, let's get the news headlines. What's the plan? Ask Greg Host.
The man with a plan and the headlines. The Madlanga Commission has heard how the police minister allegedly tried to convince a witness to provide statements to the commission. The DA has called on the Gauteng Education Department to resist from placing learners far from where they live. And the Supreme Court in Israel has heard an appeal by foreign journalists asking for unrestricted media access to Gaza. There's a full update, as always, at the top of the hour.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good afternoon. Starting off in Gauteng, Christian de Wet Road in Kloofendal is where a crash is reported at Wilgerhout Road, Winnie Mandela Drive southbound in Fourways, a crash at Robert Bruce Road, and on Rietfontein Road southbound in Boksburg, a crash at North Rand Road. In KZN, on the N3 westbound in Pietermaritzburg, there's a stationary truck before Market Road which has been cleared but traffic is still slow moving, and a stationary vehicle on the N2 northbound after Kwamashu interchange. In Cape Town, the M5 northbound has a crash before the N1 Koeberg interchange, Rosmead Avenue in Wynberg has a crash near Wetton Road, and on Robert Sobukwe Road there's a crash before Valhalla Drive. With your traffic update, I'm Irma G.
This is SAFM Sports with Duming Khapele.
Right, to me, what's top of your agenda?
Well, we start things off with cricket this hour with the SA20 done and dusted. The Proteas now focus on their 3-match T20 series against the West Indies. This is ahead of the ICC T20 World Cup starting next week. Eden Markram leads a strong 50-man squad, but David Miller will sit out the West Indies series as a precaution with Ruben Herman called up. South Africa began their World Cup campaign on the 9th of February against Canada, with the tournament running from the 7th of February to the 8th of March. In football, South African football fans are in for a special treat as the FIFA World Cup trophy tour by Coca-Cola returns to the country for the first time since 2018. The original FIFA World Cup trophy will be in Johannesburg on the 30th and the 31st of January before heading to Cape Town on the 1st of February, giving fans a rare chance to see football's most prized trophy up close. The tour is basically just a build-up on excitement ahead of the FIFA World Cup 26, which will be hosted by Canada, Mexico, and the United States. In the meantime, the nominees for the 2025 Hollywood Bet Super League Awards have been announced ahead of Sunday's ceremony at the Vodacom Dome in Midrand. Mamelodi Sundowns ladies enjoyed another dominant season, winning their 5th league title. JVW finished second, level on points with TS Galaxy Queens, who placed third on goal difference. TS Galaxy's Leandre Smeda leads the nomination after scoring 22 goals and also earning a Player of the Season nod. Other top awards include the Coach of the Season, Goalkeeper, Young Player, and Match Officials of the Year, with nominees drawn from clubs across the league. The winners will be announced on Sunday. Elsewhere, Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta says that his team's mental strength will be key to respond after losing to Manchester United in the Premier League. The defeat means that Arsenal have now gone 3 league matches without a win, a run that does not match the standards of a title-chasing side. Despite the loss, the Gunners still lead the table by 4 points, but Arteta admitted that the home defeat was disappointing. And he says that focus is now on how the team reacts and lifts its performances in the matches ahead. In terms of Olympics, South Africa will send its largest ever delegation to the Winter Olympic Games, with 5 athletes named for the Milano Cortina 2026. Teenagers Thomas Weir and Laura Marthella will compete in alpine skiing, joined by Melissa Malherbe in freestyle, while Nicole Berger is in skeleton and Matthew Smith in cross-country skiing. All 5 will be making their Olympic debuts, and SASCOC President Barry Hendricks has hailed the announcement, calling the Winter Games the pinnacle of any athlete participating in snow sport. The Games run from the 6th to the 22nd of February in Italy. In terms of rugby, Bulls coach Johan Ackerman is calling for consistency in his side as his side prepares for the second leg of the Yuske derby against the Lions at Ellis Park. Ackerman's men recently snapped a 7-game losing streak with gritty wins in Pau and Edinburgh, but the home defeat to the Lions at Loftus still stings, especially given his history with the Johannesburg side and their coach Ivan van Rooyen. Now, the Bulls await injury updates on Cheswell Juster and Sebastian de Klerk, but will be boosted by the return of several key Springboks who could make a decisive impact. In tennis, Iga Swiatek is through to the Australian Open quarterfinals. She claimed a 6-love and 6-3 win over Madison Inglis. She hit 22 winners and continues her chase for a first Australian Open title, which would complete a career Grand Slam. In terms of motorsport, Formula One begins a new era this week as teams start pre-season tasting in Spain. 10 of the 11 teams are taking part in a private test and in Barcelona, and the first of the 3 tests ahead of the new season, which start with the Australian Grand Prix, is from the 6th to the 8th of March. The sport has introduced its biggest rule changes ever, with completely new cars, including new engines, tires, and fuel. And because of this, teams have been given more testing time than last season. This week's test is being held privately as teams focus on preparations and reliability, and 2 more tests will follow in Bahrain later in February, with only the final test broadcast live. On that note, it is a wrap from my side.
Interesting. I mean, just as Tumi's been talking about the World Cup plans and whatnot, there's been this call. I mean, I'm talking of the World Cup trophy. There's been this call from people to perhaps boycott the 2026 World Cup in the USA. And there's been question marks about that. And the latest person who's asked the questions, you will not believe who it is. I'll tell you after this.
Outsurance is saving 27-year-old Liam big bucks on his car insurance.
Saving so much every month, around 640 Rand.
That's an awesome 640 Rand saving on Liam's 2024 Ranger. And after 3 claim-free years, he gets an out bonus.
Definitely getting a lot out.
Get a quote now and see how much money Outsurance could save you. SMS out to 30754. That's out to 30754. Licensed insurer in FSP. TCs and information online.
This is Tulasizwe Simelane on the Morning Brief.
The fact that people felt that they have no option but to leave their homes and go and stay at that Randgate community hall, that says that basically the state has failed them. Would you say that's a fair assessment?
Tulasizwe, it is a fair assessment. The reality is it comes down to policing. It comes down to safety and security. That this was the real problem, that these people have been to the SAPS. They complained to the council. They complained to their councillor, but nothing has been done. And you're quite right, that's the reality that we're sitting in, is that we don't have crime fighting. That people like the Zamas can run rampant and do whatever they wish, and nothing is being done.
That's Yvette Du Plessis, member of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature.
The only talk radio morning breakfast show that makes sense. The Morning Brief with Tulasizwe Simelane.
Economic news on SAFM. Facts and figures you can count on.
I suppose, not calling for a boycott of a World Cup is an economic action decision, and therefore we can bring it up now. So the person who's now called for, and here's the thing, I'm going to read the tweet. He's saying, for the fans, there's only one piece of advice: stay away from the USA. I think Mark Peath is right to question this World Cup. Of course, it's in inverted commas, is sort of quoting that point. And this person has got 1.3 million followers on Twitter, on the X platform, and his name is Joseph S. Blatter, better known as Sepp Blatter, the former boss of FIFA, saying, don't go to the USA. My goodness. Shami Moyaha, you've got another, he's from Switzerland, you have other German stories, right?
Good afternoon, Ashraf. Good afternoon to the listeners. I thought that would be my top story, but I think it might just be better if I change it, because like Dumi, I too have predictions to report back on, and I couldn't be happier. The gold price touched more than $5,000 a fine ounce. I had expected this would happen. I did say it might happen before the end of the month. It happened, and it is still above $5,000 a fine ounce. Silver price all-time highs, platinum price all-time highs. The rand, the South African rand against the US dollar, is officially below 16 rand. It is at 15 rand and 96 cents, almost a full % stronger today. I think for me, for someone that's been watching the markets and who's been updating our listeners on the markets over the last 3 years, this is quite the moment. If you think back to just where we were this time last year, I'd say around April of last year, when Liberation Day happened in the United States, the rand got as bad as 19 rand and 96 cents against the US dollar. Fast forward to today, it's not even a year later, and we have clawed back to below 16 rand for the first time in almost 4 years. So I think for me, that is a testament to where the South African economy is at the moment as we start the year. Of course, a lot still to happen this year. We've still got a lot of expectations riding on our economy and on some of the conversations that are going to be happening. But I think this is a good way to start the final week of January. It has been quite the start to the 2026 calendar year. And alongside that, we're going to have some of the other conversations. You touched on the Germany conversation. We're going to be speaking to the Deputy Ambassador of Germany to South Africa around the just energy transition initiatives that South Africa has been putting in place. Germany initially had committed around 18 billion rand, or just shy of 1 billion euros, towards South Africa's just energy transition initiatives as part of that just energy transition partnership that we know we were the first country to be a part of. Fast forward to today, those pledges and commitments are now closer to 2.7 billion euros just from Germany alone, increasing from about 18 billion rands to just over 50 billion rands. So a lot of commitment has come South Africa's way from Germany in line with our efforts to transition to cleaner energy sources. We're going to speak to Germany around that and get a sense of what seems to be driving that relationship with South Africa, what seems to be continuing to strengthen that relationship, and indeed how South Africa and Germany might be able to benefit from its continued existence. We also have a conversation with the team at Prescient Securities, taking a look at at the United States' debt predicament. You touched on the United States just now, Ashraf, saying that the World Cup might not go there. There's a lot of concern around having it go there. We know that the United States government has been very vocal on many issues, and there's quite a contrarian view that's developing around the United States' debt conversation. At the moment, they are about 120 to 125% of their debt to GDP ratio, which is worse than South Africa's one, if anyone is interested in that. And we know that the $34 trillion debt pile is not a good thing. And there seems to be a view that suggests that potentially the United States would be looking to trade their way or grow their way out of the debt rather than settling the debt. I'm interested in finding out what this would look like and how this would work out, because we've seen that the tariff conversations have been mixed from whether they've been reported on from the United States and what the actual numbers are. So I'm going to look at those numbers as well with the team at Prescient Securities and see if we can make sense of that. We're also going to have a conversation about SA Inc. with the team at 91 and the investment case for SA Inc. going into 2026. And then, because it is Monday, we're going to wrap up our show with a digital drive conversation. We're going to look at how the EV market performed in 2025 in South Africa and what we can expect from 2026. Before we go, as I said, the markets had a great day, and I've reported on some of those big moves. In terms of the all share, it is up 1.8% off the back of those positive moves in South Africa. The top 40 is up 2%, and the resources stocks were the biggest driver there. Financials, let's start with them. They were basically flat, down about 3 basis points. Industrials down 0.25%. Resource stocks up 5.6%. As I said, that stronger gold price, the stronger silver price, platinum price, even palladium is now back above $2,000 a fine ounce. The Brent crude price at the moment is around $65.55 a barrel. Not too concerning there. Doesn't seem to have moved too much from where we've been keeping an eye on. The rand against the euro 21.86, against the euro 18 rand 97, so back below 19 rand. Against the British pound, still back below 22 rand at 21.86. The Australian dollar seems to be the lagger there, 11 rand and 6 cents. The Bitcoin price hasn't moved, $88,000 a Bitcoin, but with that stronger rand, we are now potentially pointing towards being below 1.4 million as opposed to, and we're just shy of that, we're about 1.399, about 900 rand short of 1.4 million rand with the stronger rand at the moment. So a Bitcoin continues to get cheaper as the rand continues to get stronger, and we'll be back with these and other market conversations just after the 6 p.m. news. For now, Ashraf, back to you.
Right, perfect. It looks like you have a terrific show coming up 6 to 7, the SFM market update.
Every day, Rand Water's underground pipelines run through servitudes across the country, carrying millions of litres of water to our communities. But when people build too close, it's called encroachment, and it's very dangerous. If a pipeline bursts, it can flood homes, destroy property, and in many cases, people lose their lives. That's why Rand Water marks its servitudes with blue and white beacons, a clear warning to stay clear and safe. When we protect Rand Water's servitudes, we protect our communities too. Rand Water, finding new ways.
With the ever-changing financial landscape, it can be difficult to make sense of all the moves at times. Join me, Jimmy Moyaha, on the SAFM Market Update with MoneyWeb, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 to 7 p.m, as we break down the key market trends, top financial stories, and smart investment insights, all in one place. It's everything you need to stay financially informed and ahead of the curve.
Ashraf Garda on SAFM.
Yeah, so I'm not being funny. Sepp Blatter, by his Twitter account, is called on people to boycott the World Cup in the USA. Let's talk about the Mandela African Leadership Summit and what that really means. I know it's going to take place in Kenya early next month. There's lots of questions around it. With me is Indaba Mandela, who's the grandson of Nelson Mandela. Indaba, appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us on the National Pulse.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Well, this summit certainly fires my imagination, and goodness, if I had a chance, I would certainly be there. But perhaps let's start with that. Why is the summit that important?
Well, firstly, this is a very important summit because, unlike before, we have not had the opportunity to bring young leaders and decision makers together. Often people speak of this being the right thing to do because Africa is the youngest continent, but we haven't actually seen young people contributing to the status quo, contributing to the policies, or even being brought to the table, to be honest, in terms of decision-making process.
I suppose maybe the best way to determine a summit is to determine the outcomes. What would be the end goal? At the end of it all, what would you be hoping will happen?
The end of it, really, we want to compile a report where we really put together what are the highlights, so what are the key industries, what are the key sectors that we need to focus in, and how are we actually going to implement what we actually strive to achieve. So ideally, this report should inform us of how to move forward step by step and how to implement the changes that we need.
Okay, so the summit will be held in Nairobi, in Kenya. Why there? Anything strategic about that location?
Yes, well, as you know, that Kenya is one of the homes of the biggest global institutions in terms of Africa. You've got a huge base of expats in Africa. So therefore, the decisions that we make can actually easily flow to those global institutions, because we need those global institutions to partner us in terms of us informing policy and actually implementing these strategic things, because we are talking about a continental-wide movement. We're talking about Pan-Africanism. And if you talk about Pan-Africanism, you talk about Kenyatta, Uhuru, you talk about the founders of Pan-Africanism living in this region, and people who truly believe in this vision. For example, the president removed the need for visas for Africans visiting Kenya. So he's already showing us that he's already on the path of Pan-Africanism.
What about, I get it, the theme is Ubuntu, I am because we are. Internalize, what would that, rather, how would that manifest in a conference, in a modern day conference like it is? Because at some stage you want that to be internalized at the conference and then externalized and therefore manifested outside. Explain how you expect that to happen.
Yes. Well, a lot of people don't understand that Ubuntu is strength. Culture is power. Our stories, the art, the music, the fashion, shape identity and control how Africa is actually seen. So once we ourselves have internalized how we want to be seen, how we want to be treated, how we want to be engaged with, that will start exuding to the bigger community, to the bigger society, and nationally, it will, transverse into a continental movement.
Who's going to be attending in terms of, speakers and that format, and who else can attend, even if they're not speaking?
Well, we have a number of speakers. We actually have one of the founders of McDonald's who's going to be speaking. We have obviously His Excellency, the President Ruto, who's going to be speaking. We have a number of entrepreneurs. One of them is a star entrepreneur, a gentleman by the name of Gabriel, who actually has started an application, an app. It's an e-hailing app where it's called Movin', which is now based in Kenya. He's got over 4,000 taxis or cars in Seattle. He's got another 4,000 taxis in Washington, D.C. So it's another one of those, I'd say, unicorns in the making who will be present as well.
And then outside of that, can anybody else attend?
Anybody can attend. There are tickets being sold, and we really want, a variety of people. We have the top 10 corporates that are going to be presented, who have already committed to this conference. And of course, we have a number of youth leaders from the Kenyan community who will be attending as well. A number of universities have been invited, and different institutions really to really bolster and make sure that we have a diverse group of people attending the conference, because we need different voices in order for us to really come together and write an informative report.
Absolutely. Tell me about, of course you are the grandson of Nelson Mandela, but why the Mandela name in this Mandela African Leadership Summit? Because once that happens, there's a clear focus on the Mandela factor. It could have been just the African Leadership Summit.
My friend, I am Daba Mandela myself. I was raised by Mandela. I am the man I am today because of Mandela. And let's be honest, maybe South Africans don't see it, but the rest of the world still love and respect Mandela as one of the most, successful, pioneering Africans till today.
Okay. Talking about success, you won an award recently. Best you tell us all about that.
Oh, so
with a smile, I noticed. Yeah.
I was given an award by the it was the it's an opera based organization here in Miami, but they actually are a Spanish organization, and I received an award for youth leadership and social impact, and it was done here at the Adrian Ash Center in Miami, and I was one of about 10 recipients of the award.
Oh, that's absolutely fabulous. Well done to you. And listen, we love to celebrate winners and champions on the show, and we're doing just that. Just lastly, in terms of the Leadership Summit, give us either a website or a social media account we can follow.
Yes, you can go to Mandela Summit, which is available on Instagram. It's available as well as it's got a website as well, MandelaLeadershipSummit.com. Mandela Leadership Summit, also on Instagram.
Okay. I will certainly follow that. In fact, I'm going to do that like ASAP. So let me leave you to that. Indaba Mandela, appreciate your time. Much appreciated. This sounds like a fascinating, not just fascinating, I think it's a very important project that happens and kickstarts in a few weeks' time. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
There we are. That should... I love the fact we've had some really good aspirational conversations today, because we need to do that. We need to inspire you and I and others to take up one step and another on this ladder of wherever we want to go for ourselves and our people and our community and our country. That's a good thing. I'll get to you in a moment.
SAFM has signed a code of conduct that is enforced by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. Under the code, we are committed to giving news that is accurate, comment that is fair, and programming that is not harmful, does not amount to hate speech, or contain violence or explicit sex. If you think we are not living up to that code, then you can inform the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. Direct any complaints in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. PO Box 142365. Craig Hall 2024. Fax to 011-326-3198 or an email to bccsa@nabsa.co.za. For more information, please visit www.bccsa.co.za.
Right, so listen, we're going to get to your calls, WhatsApps, all that coming up in a moment. But just note this: January is for intention setting, so less noise, more meaning. So say yes to beauty, yes to culture, yes to slowing down, and yes to the Montreux Jazz Festival in Franschhoek, where Montreux meets Africa with curated global and African music in an intimate setting. Don't miss it. Get your tickets at the end of January. Few days' time. Make this your yes moment. Montreux Jazz Festival, Franschhoek. Say yes. And the website for all the details, go to it, is mjfsa.com. You got it? MJFSA.
You are listening to the National Pulse with Ashraf Garda.
So the comments about China. Sepp Blatter and all the Trump haters can cry blue, the soccer will go ahead. I mean, I think that's different. Ashraf, China is corrupt, and you're one of the few people who are too scared to admit it. China corrupt. The car industry is going to lose thousands of jobs. Seems like you have to take the part of the corrupt. Oh, of the ANC. Oh, my goodness. Where did you get that from? Love how people make sweeping comments. Right, I need to get other comments about foreigners too.
Good afternoon, Ashraf. Good afternoon, listeners. This is Patrick from Soweto. Ashraf, do you know these foreigners? 80% of these foreigners, if I'm correctly, they're getting COVID grant. Do you know that? I hope you know that. So we'll sing one song, Mabahambe, Mabahambe, Mabahambe. Yet they're getting this COVID grant. Where they can go? So we'll be singing a song, Mabahambe, Mabahambe, but the question is that it's a fact, it's on record, they're getting COVID grant. Thank you, Patrick in Soweto.
And they're still getting a COVID grant? I mean, not just them, anybody, is everybody still getting a COVID grant? Teach me something that I've forgotten about.
Hi, Afia Joe from Durban. The call to boycott the United States should be supported, but for different reasons to that of Sepp Blatter, himself shrouded in dictatorial, corrupt rule during his tenure. However, given the support of the US for the ongoing genocide, what it's done in Venezuela, what it continues to do, destabilizing other parts of the Middle East, are more than enough reasons over and above what ICE is doing to people from the third world in the United States. And the whole attitude of the MAGA movement to people of color. All good reasons to boycott the USA.
Okay, there we are. That's Joe's support of Zeblat. Different reasons. I do have a sense that call is gaining momentum. We may have to have a serious conversation about it soon.
Yeah, good evening, Ashraf. Yeah, this is Indo from Temba, Nehami Town. This is a message to Department of Home Affairs, Immigration Department. Go to Hammanskraal. Start at Manyele, the Temba. Manyele, the heart of Hammanskraal. Knock door by door, door by door, by door by door, door by door. All those people who are residing there, majority of them are foreigners now currently as we speak, me and you. Then start from Kanana all the way to Suruman, moving west to Soshanguve. All those new dwellings there, majority of the population in Hammanskraal is foreigners.
Okay, point noted. Here's another before we wrap up the show.
Good afternoon, Ashraf. Good afternoon to the SAFM listeners. Coming to think of a person who is outside of politics and whom I think could be a better candidate to be the president of South Africa, I'm thinking of the former Chief Justice Mogoeng. I know that there were some rumors that he could take presidency, but from a particular political party. But I think he could be a good candidate. Sewanele Pretoria.
Okay, because I asked that question. Somebody from outside. Didn't he stand for a political party? But I'm talking about someone outside anyway, right? Let's just wrap up with another comment about the police talks.
Good afternoon, Ashraf and SAFM listeners. I remember it was on Stephen Grote's show before Tula Sizwe took over the show when there was this report that the police ran out of sniffer dogs, and the South African government have even requested one country outside. I don't know if it is somewhere in Germany or I don't know, but they ran out of one of those dogs, the one that the police always use. When we want to see that people have failed, is when they fail to do something that it can produce itself. You must know they are total failures. How can you run out of dogs? Good afternoon,
thank you. Someone said, come on, it's a dog's life. But I mean, I certainly hear what you're saying. And I mean, the more serious one is someone said, come on, what about the SPCA? Have they had that conversation with them? Listen, lots to consider. Go to our, website. You'll pick up podcasts of all the conversations we've had today and Friday, and some really great guests we had on Friday. You need to listen to all of this. So please listen out and then share that amongst your networks. I'll be thrilled if you do that. Right now, let's get the news at 6 o'clock. Here's Greg.
Thank you again. Ashraf claims minister tried to convince a witness to testify, and a call on the